February. This 5-minute call saves homeowners an average of $5,000. Lower rates and lower fees. Get your Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Loan Pronto, call 919-381-1760 or loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The future depends on teachers who are reinventing the classroom and starting their students on journeys that will change the course of history. Shape the future. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Anthony Baglione. It is a chilly forecast as we head through the rest of today with a high of 47 this afternoon. It comes with nothing but sunshine, just a few high-level clouds coming in, but should be pretty quiet in that regard, just on the chilly side, so make sure to have the winter coat or jacket handy.
3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is down 253 points today to 42,290.
Carolina can get the lead for the first time since early. RJ in transition. Boy, missed it. Just pulled up from 12 feet, missed it. Here comes Louisville. Rain Smith going to get a wide open three. That's going in 9 times out of 10. RJ splits a double team, finds Withers going down the baseline, who hammers it home. Hepburn, though, stripped as he drives in into the hands of Withers. Long pitch ahead to Jackson. He's shoved in the back, gets the bucket, and draws the foul.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to 2025. January 2nd, I know.
We made it. Let's go.
We made it. You're darn right.
Let's go.
Actually, I don't even know if we want to say that. We didn't make it. That implies, like, you're tired crossing the finish line. We have arrived. Intentionally ready for 2025 here on The Drive. And I don't know if we can say the same about UNC men's basketball. It feels like they've made it. It feels like, I don't know if you've ever been at the finish line of like a high school state cross-country meet. It's not the prettiest place in the world. There's a lot of people crawling. There's
probably some tears.
Some very confused, I have no oxygen left in my body individuals. Kind of what UNC looks like. Not great heading into the new year for UNC men's basketball, and that's a Hubert Davis problem, and that's an RJ Davis problem, and that's a Ian Jackson problem. Even though he's playing well, it's a everybody problem for UNC. Lose by double digits to Louisville. If you're losing that game like they did yesterday, then every single ACC game is on the table, right? It is, if you're not beating Louisville, or at least, within a possession of Louisville, there's not a game on your schedule that you just chalk up as a W. And Louisville is good, don't get me wrong. I mean, good might not be the right word. The bottom part of the ACC, but there's a lot of middle in the ACC.
I mean, that roster is a complete turnover from what it was a year ago, literally.
Almost, yeah, it actually is.
It is 100%,
right?
yeah.
100%. So and UNC was not. There's problems there. And I think this is actually funny because these two schools hate when I compare them. So I'm going to compare them cross-sport. UNC basketball is in an eerily similar situation to where NC State football was at a similar part of their year. And what I mean by that is you came into the year with super high expectations, right? NC State football was talking ACC championship, college football playoff, all this stuff. UNC was a top 10 team in the country coming into the year with a returning ACC player of the year and some big-time recruits. Grayson McCall, Casey Concepcion, Jordan Waters, kind of like that's what we're putting our entire season on. These guys are studs for NC State football. Well, it ended up being C.J. Bailey and Hollywood Smothers as they pivoted midseason. UNC Basketball, R.J. Davis, Seth Trimble coming back. These are the guys coming into the season. That's who you sent to ACC tip-off. Well, I think it might be time to pivot, and you may have already seen it happening because Ian Jackson has led the team in shooting attempts, the last 3 games, even with R.J. Davis on the floor. Drake Powell, if you want to step up, that's what it has to be. And that is kind of what I'm getting at here. It's time to throw out what you thought this season was going to be and pivot from let's go chase these lofty goals to let's prevent disaster. If NC State didn't make a bowl game, it would have been a disaster. They barely got above that. You might still call it a disaster, but at least it's not a full-blown disaster. And what else do they have? Well, they turned the keys over to some young guys, some guys who you hope will be back next year, who by all accounts look like they're going to be back this year. So you have a little bit of hope heading into the next year. UNC, you hate to say it because R.J. Davis is a legend. And Drake Powell and Ian Jackson might not be back either because in basketball you can bounce after 1 year if you're good enough. But there has to be a changing of the guard. There has to be and I'm not saying like R.J. Davis goes to the bench. I'm just saying that it's Ian Jackson's squad. Socially, it can be R.J. Davis. He can be the guy that goes out for the captains. He can be the guy that holds the players-only meetings when teams are going in the wrong direction. But Ian Jackson is good, man. And it's no longer his time to concede to the veterans. It's no longer his time to say, well, they're here. Let me get in where I fit in. It's now we build around you. Because what you put on the floor against Louisville and what you put on the floor in darn near every non-conference game other than UCLA and Dayton, and really just a half against Dayton, that's not acceptable. Right? Part of the goal or the reason why a blue blood is a blue blood, why UNC is UNC, is because everyone goes there saying we can compete for a national championship every year. You don't go there to be a part of building something. You go there because it's built and you want to get there and have the opportunity to have the highest level of success. If once you realize that's not happening for a season, nothing's too precious. Hubert Davis, their head coach, was asked why UNC struggled down the stretch. This was his answer.
Throughout the entire game, but especially in, late game situations, 4 minutes to go, like the discipline and details just have to be there. I mean, you've got to defensively, you got to get stops, you got to defend without fouling, you've got to box out, you've got to get loose balls. Offensively, you have to execute. And when I mean execute, it's not just, I'm not talking about just being able to score in those situations. It's also the stuff that sets up the shot, the screen, the being in the right spot, setting the screen, setting your man up, going to the offensive. They have Roderick Daniels Jr. Stuff like that we just got to get better at and more consistent at.
Better, more consistent. You can put anything in there. The team's not playing well enough. The team's not playing well enough. And this is the last comparison from the NC State football team to the UNC basketball team I'll make. But once you hit this point in the season, questions start to get asked. And what I mean by that is the Field of 68 podcast, what is it, John Goodman, a part of it. They had a
Jeff Goodman.
What did I say, John Goodman?
Yeah.
Different Goodman. Jeff Goodman, part of it. They put out a little piece of content. It said, it's time to have a real, and they capitalized real because, got to let them know. It's time to have a real talk about Hubert Davis. That's coming from them, not me.
There are a lot of UNC fans have been saying that same thing for a little bit now.
There were similar deals about the Dave Doran run, and there are similar deals about the Dave Doran run. It's part of it is it's hard to turn things around when you're having to constantly answer questions about things that you don't know how or don't want to talk about. The easiest way to get those questions to stop being asked is to just win a bunch of games. Right? You very rarely hear questions about your coach on a 2-game win streak. Even if the questions are still out there by the fan base and everything else, it's just crazy how recency bias happens. UNC went from, at the beginning of the year, top 10 team in the country, thinking national championship, thinking we're going to be one of the flag bearers of the ACC, with this, that, and the third, to now where it's you just have to play well enough to where the negative cloud doesn't sit around your program. That is a drastic change in expectations. But it needs to happen. You can't walk around losing games to Louisville but carrying yourself like a top 10 team in the country. You can't walk into games and expect them to, meaning the opponent, expect them to be intimidated and or feel like they have to give you everything or press. Right? Nobody is going to press against UNC from this point forward. They're going to go into the game as if they're equals. Right? There's get blinded by the pinstripes, right? Get blinded by the Argyle. It's just not going to happen this year. We just watched Louisville take it down, and they have a whole new team. Hubert again asked, this time, how was this loss different than the others?
In those other games, we were down 16 or 18. I don't think we were that way in the second half at all. Felt like we were always 2 or 3 possessions away the entire game. It got away towards the end, but I felt like we were right there throughout the entire game. And again, we got it. I think we were tied. We missed a couple shots to take the lead. We were down by 1, missed a couple shots to take the lead, and so we had our chances.
That's such a chicken or the egg isn't the right way to put it. It's such a in the eye of the beholder. How is this one different? Well, we didn't start really slow. Is that a positive or a negative? You still lost the game by double figures. And this time it wasn't because you dug a hole at the beginning and then played well. It's because you just kind of played steadily a bucket or two behind Louisville. They got to do some real looking at themselves in the mirror in Chapel Hill.
A lot of soul searching.
Who do you turn to in tough moments? Turn to that person and have a real conversation. Call a friend, your mentor. I don't know who it is, and that goes for everybody in that program. I don't want to be sitting here a couple months from now talking about how they didn't make the NCAA tournament, and I don't have an argument to make for them. Right? When it's bubble time, when it's bracketology, I want to be able to have some cold hard facts that I can argue with UNC and not just be playing the abstract game. Well, they have an idea of they could be, they should have been. No, I want to be here's what they did. And if they don't have that, it's really just a discredit to people in that program because the talent, we've seen it. It's good. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tim Donnelly here for DraftKings Sportsbook. I love this. I get to do an impression to start this one off. Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? Playoffs? You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs. Playoffs. And you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. If you're ready to bet your first bet, place your first bet, try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. And pay attention to, and I say this every year about this time, incentives. Going into the last year, somebody needs 1 touchdown to win like $500,000 in an incentive from their team. Find that person, and they're probably going to be a little extra motivated. Speaking of extra motivated, new DraftKings customers can be a little extra motivated because right now, if you bet $5, you can get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD. That's code TIMD for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. We'll take a break. When we come back, UNC basketball, they lost. Duke basketball got a win against Virginia Tech, but they have a challenge of their own. I'll tell you what that challenge is coming up next.
It's bowl season. Listen for college football's best through January 20th. Every major bowl will be brought to you live.
Touchdown! Travion Henderson, 66 yards, and the Rose Bowl route is on for the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Bowl season on 99.9 The Fan and Buzz Sports is presented by Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford, Amedios, and Roofworks.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text REP to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text REP to 42424. That's REP to 42424. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up, then spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Stop letting high interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox, my friends at Loan Pronto. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you could be credit card debt free. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
James the inbound, flag to dunk. The lob works, and Cooper now has 24.
Happy New Year, everybody. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, our first show of 2025. And if there is one triangle basketball team, ACC triangle basketball team, that can feel good about the new year, it's probably Duke. And I don't think all you, everybody loves Duke people can really get mad at us on this one. Duke is going to have to find some mini goals throughout their ACC schedule. I'm big on mini goals in certain situations. And what a mini goal is a way to judge success and failure other than the final score. And the reason why you need mini goals is because I don't think it's best for anyone's development to, and this is every team sport, every individual sport, every athlete, to just beat up on competition that maybe is not at your level. Right? Well, the Duke beat Virginia Tech in a game that they were favored by 24.5 in conference. Now, that says something about Virginia Tech. Mm-hmm. That says something about the rest of the ACC.
Sure.
But winning a game that you were favored by 24.5 by 23, which is what Duke did.
Didn't cover.
Brutal. Which, by the way, on the Adam Gold Show, one of my picks was like, there's no way an ACC game should ever have this, and I picked Duke. I picked Tech plus the points. Sweated it out pretty good. It is a situation where if you go into games that are just that, like, hey, you could win by 15 and that would be underwhelming, you need to set yourself up to be motivated in other ways. Right now, if I look at the ACC and if the season ended today, who's going to be in the tournament? It's probably Duke, Pitt, maybe Clemson. Duke, Pitt, maybe Clemson. If you wanted to squeeze another team into like the Dayton first round, maybe. That's not going to give you a ton of opportunities to test yourself against the teams that you're going to have to beat if you want to go and make a Final Four or beyond. If you're a Final Four caliber team and you're playing against a conference schedule that has 3, maybe 4 NCAA tournament teams, that's not going to be enough to give you a real task. That's not going to be enough for the coaching staff to have your attention in ways that you can only find after a failure. So John Shire's challenge, right? And this is the challenge of a young coach. This is a challenge of quite frankly, just a young individual, right? He's mid-30s and he's leading Duke basketball. One of his challenges is going to be to make sure nobody goes on cruise control, to make sure nobody doesn't do the, yeah, but we won. That is a dangerous statement. Yeah, but we won. Well, we won by 10 against a team that should beat by 20. Coaches have to be able to yell and scream and and have a hard practice the next day. And not have everyone, as they run up and down stadium steps or as they do the defensive drill for the 10th time because you didn't have great defensive rotations in the game, nobody is thinking, why we won? What is he so mad about? How do you practice big moments in a 23-point win? How do you practice tension in a 23-point win? That's the challenge, right? When you're ahead by 10 with 5 minutes left in the first half and it never gets closer than 9 the rest of the way, which is exactly what happened against Virginia Tech, how do you practice the big moments that you, quite frankly, were about 50-50 in executing during the non-conference schedule? Right? Kentucky, the Kansas game, you didn't execute well down the stretch. And then the other thing is, and I've been talking about this, don't just give it to Cooper Flagg and check out, which is, at times, I'm sure, tempting.
It's easy to do it. Yeah, he can do it. It's fine. We've seen him do it.
He gets all the attention anyway. Might as well make him. It's what do they call it? I just for the holidays drove to my parents' house in Orlando. It's a long drive. The thing where like you're on a highway, you're paying attention, you're alert, changing lanes, everything, but you kind of like snap out of it 25 minutes later and you're like, who was driving the car there? Because your brain was just somewhere else. Highway hypnosis.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what they call it.
All right.
You can do that if you are 1-2 players on Duke against Virginia Tech. All right, everybody else is going to get it. Right? It's like a quarterback when you have a team that can't stop the run that you're playing against. And I'm just going to hand it off here. Doop-de-doo. That's part of the task. That's part of the challenge for Duke now. John Shire talks about Cooper Flagg reaching another level, which is all good. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to act like that's a problem.
He reclassified. Like how many different times can you point to a reclassification where a guy's doing this and he's the number one guy in a scouting report, and he, to have played every game up until now at 17 years old, he's been incredible. And I still felt like over break, I told him, I think he still got way more in him. And I thought he unleashed even more what he can do today. But we should all cherish the fact that Cooper came a year early, Kaman came a year early, and they're playing at this level. To me, it doesn't get necessarily mentioned enough. And I know we praise Cooper and he deserves it, but what he does for our team is incredible.
What he does for their team is incredible. And I've said this once, I'm going to say it again. There will be an NCAA tournament game where one of a few things happens. Flag gets in foul trouble. He wakes up and has an off day. There will be a day where everybody else is going to have to step up and cover for Cooper. You don't want it to be the first time they've done it in months. You don't want it to be that. Even if, again, the ACC is down, it creates a new challenge. Coach K didn't have that challenge very often. And by the way, I would say this about Pitt. I would say this about anyone that makes the NCAA tournament out of the ACC this year. Clemson, if a few teams rally, you have never had to worry about it in the ACC, at least not in my lifetime. Right? If you made it out of the ACC and you made it in the NCAA tournament, you were the most battle-tested. And I still think there's an element of that day in and day out, but it's not as good this year. It's not as good this year. John Shire talked about players growing into their roles. Let's hear what he had to say.
We've had to have more structure in some sequences where maybe we wouldn't have as much in the past, but I think it's helped them feel really confident with what they're looking for in offense, what their reads are, instead of saying you can do whatever. Not saying we've said that, but we've simplified it more for them. And give them credit. End of the day, they need to make the right plays. They need to be unselfish. And then I also want us to be aggressive and be ready to shoot. I still didn't think we had as good of a shooting night as we can have. I think there's going to be a game here where we can really break out and, for Tyrese and Khan, go 3 of 12. I thought they had good looks. I think they're too good of shooters. They're going to hit some of those.
Shooter's going to shoot. I have no problem with all of that. The roles are fascinating. And the last thing I'll say is this. None of these guys have been role players in their lives. That's always a task going to, and by the way, that's any of these super top tier where you get multiple 5 stars.
And that's kind of what he was discussing there.
Never, ever. Right, Con Knipple is the guy who his role this year might be shooter, might be secondary creator. He's been the guy his entire life who, when the game gets crazy, he just goes, give me the ball, watch what I do with it. It's not him. I think Tyrese Proctor has gotten better at it the last couple of years. He's part of being a third-year player, but there's a lot of guys that have to learn that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have the Dean's List coming up. We have a football game for Duke tonight against Ole Miss, in which case they have the chance to do the funniest thing possible. I'll tell you what that is. Stick around.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. For all the inside information on your team, join me and my co-host, WRAL TV's Chris Lee, for our podcast, Panthers Playbook, presented by Carolina Ford Dealers. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on your Panthers, and we'll do it with access only we can provide. Locker room insight, exclusive interviews, and in-depth looks at every Panthers game. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through Hims.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through Hims.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Navy Federal Credit Union can help you dominate debt with a 0% intro APR on credit card balance transfers for 12 months. And right now, you could get $250 when you spend $2,500 using a Cash Rewards or Cash Rewards Plus card. Visit NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission.
Navy Federal is insured by NCUA. After the intro rate expires, variable APRs are 15.15% to 18% based on credit worthiness. Rates are subject to change. ATM fees for cash advances are up to $1 at non-Navy Federal ATMs.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. One thing that a lot of people have is like a New Year's resolution is you want to be more positive, right? Want to be more optimistic.
Try being a Panther fan.
Hey, you know what? There's silver linings in there somewhere. Yeah, sure, you might want to close one eye and squint with the other. It's a little blurry, but yeah, there's some silver linings in there somewhere. We started being a little more optimistic with our college coverage about a month ago. So we got to jump on the New Year's resolution by adding something we call the Dean's List. So let's go ahead and put class in session. The Dean's List is quite simple. We look around college sports, we look around the teams we cover, and we try to highlight those that maybe have done something great or deserve a little bit of praise that maybe the overarching world of college sports doesn't see or hasn't seen yet. I have 3 entries for today, and they're over the past week because we've been in and out of shows, and these are ones that I thought were worthy. The first one has to do with Duke football tonight. Henry Beelan IV. He is starting at quarterback for Duke. And you may say, well, why don't you wait to see how he plays before you put him on the Dean's List? Well, I wanted to get ahead of it because no matter how it goes tonight, I want him to enjoy the chance to start a bowl game against a top 25 team because he did what many ask of college sports athletes, which is he stuck around. Right? Last year, he was a backup to a future first-round pick. Maybe. At the time, that's what he was seen as, Riley Leonard. Turns out he was a college first-round pick and signed a bunch of money with Notre Dame. But if you're in Beelan's shoes at that moment, you're thinking, Riley will be here another year or two, then I'll take over. Riley Leonard gets hurt, Beelan gets in, Beelan gets hurt. Grayson Loftus comes in. Loftus plays well enough. He jumps up to the next spot. Leonard leaves. They bring in Malik Murphy, new coach. Loftus is still the backup. There's so many reasons there why so many quarterbacks in college would say, yeah, I'm done with you, Duke, and they would bounce. But he doesn't do that. He sticks around. He keeps working. He stays at least hopefully ready. Third string, what happens? Malik Murphy transfers out. Grayson Loftus hits the portal. They already have the next guy coming in and reportedly have paid him $4 million in Darian Mensah, $4 million per year, according to CBS Sports. Darian Mensah coming out of Tulane to Duke. But
wait, hold on. $4 million?
According to CBS Sports reports, it is $8 million over 2 years for Darian Mensah, who was the number one quarterback in the portal. So there's this weird Bermuda Triangle between Malik Murphy and Darian Mensah for Duke, and Henry Beelan gets to start in it. Enjoy it, man. You stuck around. This is your gift. And I'm assuming you'll probably hit the portal, or you'll try to back up Mensah, who's younger than you, which is a tough spot to be. And right, you might throw 3 interceptions, you might throw 3 touchdowns. I'm not sure it really matters, because when you're paying that kind of money to someone to come in, they're going to start, right? It's how it works. So I just want Beelan to take it all in, right? Then if this is the high water mark for your career, I'm sure you're not hoping it is. I'm sure you're going to try to grind and have other highlights. But if this is it, you're going to want to look back one day and remember it. Don't just be a blur. So shout out to Beelan. You stuck around. This is what you get. Bowl game against Ole Miss. Next, Dean's List member. This is from a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago. UNC played Campbell, men's basketball.
Yeah, it was this past Sunday.
Gosh, it feels longer than that.
I know.
There's a holiday in the middle. Sophomore forward Colby Dugan. You get to join the Dean's List. That's a Campbell player, by the way. Basketball players dream of going to a school like UNC, right? When you're growing up and you're doing the whole out there in the driveway, UNC is probably one of the first teams, most often teams across the country where, 3, 2, UNC wins it all. And if you miss, oh, he's fouled. He gets to go to the free throw line to force another overtime. If you can't go to UNC, the next best thing is putting up a 30 ball against a school like UNC in their home arena. Dugan from Campbell, 32 points on 11 of 18 shooting, 5 of 9 from 3, and it wasn't like he was just gunning, right? 3 rebounds, 4 assists as well. That's talk of memories you want to remember. Right, talk of things you want to have etched into your brain forever. That's probably a pretty cool feeling. And do you know what else it does? Transfer portal. That's a good one to put on your highlight tape. You're only a sophomore. There's a lot of basketball left to be played. 6'7" shooter, lit up UNC. Might be a role for that. That's number 2 from my Dean's List. Dennis, do you have one, or should I roll to number 3?
Actually, I do have one.
All right.
From Duke basketball. Your guy, Isaiah Evans.
I didn't do it, but this is his 4th Dean's List.
Isaiah Evans.
You know how there's this happens every once in a while when there's a super rookie and they're like the rookie of the week, 5 of the first 6 weeks. He's a good Dean's List member. He makes the team a lot.
You talk about young players trying to learn new roles when they get to college, because these guys are so used to having the ball in their hands. And then even go to your mid-tier teams. These guys in high school had the ball in their hands constantly. Mm-hmm. This is a guy who's a freshman. He said, you know what my role is? I'm shooting threes, baby.
Catch and shoot.
Catch and shoot. 4 of 7 the other day. He understands what his role is. But also, I give him props. 4 rebounds as well.
I'm a big fan. Just the fact that he, going into every game, maybe they go over it the day before. He has no idea how much he's going to play.
Yeah.
And he just has to warm up be ready to shoot. And it's almost like if he makes one, they're like, all right, we'll give you another couple minutes. If he makes another, all right, I'll give you another couple minutes. That's a hard thing to deal with, right? The main characters, they know I'm gonna get a certain amount of playing time, certain amount of shots. He's got to be ready for 4 minutes or 14 minutes. Try to make an impact with any of them. Last one. This goes back to the NC State bowl game, but not an NC State player. Rajai Harris, the senior running back for ECU. Oh, yeah. 17 carries, 220 yards, and that 86-yard touchdown versus NC State. That is a career high in yards. That is a career high for longest rush, and that was in his last game. That's going out. That's George Costanza, right? All right, everybody, good night. You always end with your closer, right? Your biggest joke. And do you know what I love about it? So often, right, I'm doing a little bit of my draft prep day and day. So often a running back will have a big day, and you recognize it's like, oh, that's that one run. Right? Oh, he's got 140 yards. Well, he had an 80-yard touchdown run, and other than that, he averaged 3 yards a carry. If you take away the 86-yard touchdown run for Harris, he had 16 carries for 134 yards. It's a great day.
Still a heck of a day.
I also went, just because I take this one step further all the time. According to CBS Sports, I just Googled top 5 NFL draft running backs. According to CBS Sports, which was the first link to pop up, they are Ashton Jeanty of Boise.
Makes sense.
Quinshon Judkins of Ohio State.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm having such a hard time talking. Omarion Hampton of UNC.
Makes sense.
Nick Singleton of Penn State.
Okay.
And Travion Henderson also of Ohio State. Those were their top 5.
Sure.
If you want to argue, oh, this guy should be in, that guy shouldn't, that's not the point. 5 top draft guys. 86 yards would tie Judkins for the longest rush out of any of them.
Okay.
Jeanty, Hampton, Singleton, Henderson didn't have an 80-plus yard rush all season. They're playing better competition. They all played Group of 5 schools. They all played maybe not great teams. 86 yards is big. Harris went out with a bang in his college career, and he gets some cross-state bragging rights. That's a good day for Harris, and I just wanted to highlight it.
Talk about a way to end your college career and possibly his football career as a whole.
For sure. I mean, there's no guarantee a guy like him gets another shot.
But his final season, 206 carries, this all including the bowl game, 206 carries, 1,166 yards, 11 touchdowns. And along with that game that you just mentioned, over 200 yards and the game-winning touchdown, that could have been his last carry of his life.
That's a good one.
That's a great one to end on. It's a great one to end on.
That's a one to go out on. So shout out to Harris. Just want to put him on the Dean's List. Starting tomorrow with the Dean's List, we'll be back more up topical and kind of more recent, but those 3 guys, they get on the Dean's List today. Class dismissed. But we will continue talking college, and we're going to continue talking about Henry Beeland's squad. Duke versus Ole Miss tonight, Gator Bowl. Manny Diaz has the chance to do the funniest thing possible. 10 wins in his first season as Duke head coach. Would have a lot of people across the state throwing their palms to the sky going, how'd they make it look so easy? UNC has had 1 double-digit win season this century. NC State has had 1 double-digit win this century, and that's also their only double-digit win season in its entire program history. 10 wins in your first season as a Duke head coach would cause head scratching across the triangle for sure, across the state. And then the other reason I think this would be a really funny game for Duke to win is it would shut up Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is on this big SEC is better than everyone's social media rampage. He's on this big, if you put anyone else other than SEC teams in the college football playoff, it's not going to be competitive. He's on I want to shut him up. This is Duke gets the opportunity to be like our Charles Oakley, right? They get the opportunity to have somebody else that said something slick, and we get to send in our goon. We get to goon's not that's the hockey term. Our enforcer,
also hockey term, but that's fine.
Send
the goon. That's fine.
Send Oakley, right? And that's what Duke has to be. You got to go in a little crazy because if I'm looking at this one, Ole Miss has a lot more of their players playing, and Duke has a lot of those opt-outs, pretty crucial situations. But that almost makes it better. It's a better opportunity. If Lane Kiffin, with Jackson Dart playing, and with all this, the SEC should have been in, should have done this, if you lose to Duke with their third-string quarterback, you lose all rights to trash talk. Right? Then every single tweet Lane Kiffin is going to send this offseason should just be filled with replies like, yeah, but you lost to Duke. And they wouldn't be able to say, well, we don't care about this game, right? Once you're not in a college football playoff, it means nothing to us. You're going to say it meant something to Duke? They had more opt-outs than you. Manny Diaz would head into the offseason. I mean, like a crown he should wear around Durham as he tries to continue building that program, because that's what type of first season he would have had. Now, the flip side of that is Ole Miss is they're the more talented team this season, right? I don't want to expect the win when you're facing a top 25 team with less opt-outs. But isn't that kind of what Duke has gotten away with all year, right? Surprising, overplaying their expectations. When everybody overlooks them, they kind of punch you in the mouth. So yeah, you're what, like I think last I saw it was a 16.5-point dog. You're more than 2 touchdown underdog. But yeah, that's what you did. You were a 2 touchdown underdog to win 9 games this year. You were probably more than that. Nobody believed in you this whole time. So go ahead and believe in yourself. And, you're playing for jobs too, because Duke obviously will recruit the heck out of the portal. They've been pretty good at it, and they're spending money if the reports from CBS are true that they had $4 million a year to give a quarterback.
I didn't see that. I missed that. Really, $4 million a year. Guaranteed. I'm curious. You said
I don't know if it's guaranteed. I haven't seen. I haven't seen the term guaranteed. It might be. All I saw was the CBS Sports report that the agreement was 2 years, $8 million. It could be one of those deals where who knows? Maybe you got to win 10 games to get there or something. I don't know all of the details, but that was the CBS report.
Yeah, I'm curious what that's going to look like, because is that a combination of NIL as well as revenue sharing? Or is that just straight from the revenue sharing?
All great questions.
Because these guys can't sign contracts with schools. So correct. I'm curious where they're getting 2 years, $8 million from.
This is, by the way, one of the more frustrating things of college sports right now.
Yeah.
We don't know what any of it means. I have seen some teams say that a financial agreement has been signed, and that's when they can begin announcing – like, this player is a part of our team, is once it's not a letter of intent like it used to be. It's like a financial agreement. I don't know what the terms are on those. It's a very confusing time. But the only thing I can put, and I'll actually give, because there's 2 reporters that said it. I want to make sure we give them the credit. CBS Sports.
As you're finding that, I'm just thinking, because are you signing with the collective? Because I'm wondering how this is all going to work now with revenue sharing, because these guys can't sign contracts with schools
it's
directly.
The same question, by the way. It is the exact same question I had when, like C.J. Baylor last year with KC Concepcion at NC State had the announcement from the collective that they have agreed to stay around for the next year. I'm going like, what does that mean?
Exactly. What does that mean?
It's a really, really weird situation. All right, CBS Sports is calling him the highest paid player in college football history. It is John Talty and Chris Hummer who wrote the piece. It is quite a bit of cash. 2 years, $8 million.
I mean, good on him. I mean, I'm not faulting the player for this. I'm just literally wondering, without any sort of true structure of how this really works with revenue sharing and NIL, how can someone truly say, we're going to give you $8 million over the next 2 years, and it be locked in without a school or someone else being like, well, actually, because you got hurt, we're going to take some of this money away. I mean, where's the protection for the player? Where's the protection for the school? That's what I want to know.
The other side of it is this. If it's true, that's an announcement from Duke that they're making moves.
Oh, for sure.
Right. That's hey, we're not just a basketball school money. Quarterbacks $4 million. That's an announcement, and that's an announcement to because Malik Murphy broke the school record in bunch of passing stats this past year. They hit the portal and spent $4 million a year on a replacement quarterback, allegedly or reportedly. If there is anything that says you are irreplaceable to everybody, or you are replaceable, to everybody else on that roster, that's it. Oh, you want to leave? Cool. We'll go spend a bunch of money on your replacement. Go beat Ole Miss. That's just for everybody in the ACC. For everyone non-SEC, go beat Lane Kiffin. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Going on here in 13 minutes. We have some big-time college football, not here on our network. We'll still be here, but we'll keep you updated on it. The Orange Bowl is going to be kicking off here in about 13 minutes, if I have that correct.
Sugar Bowl.
Sugar Bowl, what did I say? Orange Bowl?
Yeah.
They're all The bowl names don't matter anymore. It's a quarterfinal is firing off here with the kicking off, I should say, here in a couple of minutes. I have some reactions to the quarterfinals. I have some reactions to some of the games we've already had the chance to see. Boise State and Arizona State have done enough to shut up the SEC. And I'm not saying that they should have won the game, although I don't know if everybody – there were some questionable calls in that Arizona State game. And actually, by rule, the kick that was blocked and then bounced through the uprights should have counted as a field goal. I don't know if everybody was watching it. It's one of the crazier things. Right at the end of the first half, Arizona State kicked a field goal. It was tipped, blocked, landed in the end zone, and then bounced through the uprights. And it was ruled not good. By rule, it should have been good. I don't know how and or why, but there's pretty explicit language in the rule book that says if a blocked kick is bounced and it's not touched by the kicking team and goes through, it's a good field goal. I don't blame the rest for not knowing that. But in a game that went to overtime, every 3-point counts. Arizona State did what needed to be done. Boise, to a lesser extent, did what needed to be done. And you weren't – we talked about it. I'm trying to think of where. It was on the Adam Gold show on New Year's Eve, where Boise has been in that situation a lot, where they're given a shot at something and they have to play well, or else nobody is going to be given that shot ever again, right? If a group of 5 team gets a chance in the what used to be a BCS Bowl or a New Year's Six Bowl, if they got run out of the building, then no other group of 5 teams would have gotten that shot. But what did they do in 2007? They beat Oklahoma. Then a couple years later, Hawaii gets the chance, right? Like that kept building. So with all of the Alabama should have been in, all of the why wasn't South Carolina in, rhetoric around the college football playoff, either Arizona State or Boise State or SMU, like one of these schools that was seen as should have been replaced, had to take their big bad bully down to the wire at least to prove they were worthy. Arizona State going to overtime, that was enough. That was enough. Scataboo going all scataboom shakalaka all over everybody was enough. So now next year, although they probably won't get the bye, right? They're going to restructure the 12. There will still be the need for the quote-unquote Cinderellas. Ashton Genty not having the biggest, baddest game against Penn State, he still made it interesting. Everyone was still watching for him. You still need those stories. If you're looking for teams that I think are going to open some eyes, I mean, Penn State is peaking at the right time. Ohio State is peaking at the right time. The SEC can't talk trash this year, I would say, regardless of what happens with Georgia in a couple minutes, because to me, Penn State and Ohio State look like the 2 best teams. Oregon got run. Penn State, if Drew Aller doesn't have one of those moments where everything kind of unravels for him, not only will he and Penn State look pretty darn good moving forward, he may end up saying, never mind, I need to go to the NFL draft after saying he's coming back. He looks that good. He looks that physically gifted. Coming up here, again, we'll keep you updated on the Sugar Bowl. I'm excited for it. I'll put it that way. Do you have a pick? I feel like we should lock these in ahead of time. Number 7, Notre Dame at number 2, Georgia. It's I believe relatively close on the spread. It's a 1-point favor for Notre Dame. So Georgia
really Notre Dame's favored in this one.
They opened as a 1.5-point favorite. They are currently a 1-point favorite. ESPN's matchup predictor has Notre Dame as a 55% to win. So I guess the advanced analytics all say Notre Dame is a better team, probably because Carson Beck is out and they're running with Gunnar Stockton at quarterback for Georgia.
By the way, if your name's Gunnar Stockton, you better be good if you're a quarterback.
It's like Colt McCoy. It's like you are just built for that.
Yeah, your name's Gunnar. You better be good. I mean, granted, he was a former 4-star recruit, and you've had a couple weeks to prepare, but I don't know. To me, Riley Leonard and the passing game for Notre Dame isn't that great.
He's better this year as a pure passer than he's been in the past, but he's never going to be Tua Tagovailoa efficiency in college.
It's just not. It's just not that great, and I think Georgia's defense is going to take advantage of that. The question is, can Georgia actually move the football? That's going to be the biggest thing. This might be a low-scoring, like 17-13 type game. I'll take Georgia in this one.
I'd take Georgia. I have a hard time taking Notre Dame in these big games. It seems like they keep in my lifetime, getting pushed up into the playoffs and everything, and they don't have a ton of success. I do like Jeremiah Love, their running back, though. So if he can pop, he had an 80-something yarder, 90-something yarder in their first round game.
Mm-hmm.
If he can pop one of those, that could be the difference in a low-scoring game. So I'll pick Georgia with the acknowledgement that if Love has like a 70-plus yard touchdown, I think that sways it to Notre Dame. And it's coming up here. It's going to get started at 4. We'll keep you updated on scores and all that sort of thing. But when it comes to what's going to be here on the network, we have Canes tonight.
That's right. Hockey night in Carolina.
And the Duke game will be on Buzz.
That it will be.
So we got the local side of things taken care of. And I want to add this. It's been a while. First of the new year.
Mm-hmm.
We have Canes' first goal scorer predictions coming up
yes,
at 4:33.
We do.
So with a Canes game on a weekday when we have a show, we need you to get ready to make your first goal scorer prediction. So who is going to score the first goal for the Canes, and in what period will it be scored? And I'm just going to throw this out there because we're going to talk about this later on. Might not be the best time to pick the usual suspects. Right. Usually when we do the first goal scorers, you get a lot of Svetches, a lot of Natchuses, a lot of Jarvises. They haven't been scoring a ton recently, so you might want to get ready to throw out a Robinson or somebody from the blue line, like a little different based on how they've been playing.
Well, Brandon just posted on our YouTube live chat. First goal prediction, Jarvis 5-hole in on an odd man rush in the first period. So Jarvis goes 5-hole on an odd man rush in the first.
I like it. I mean, I hope if we use it purely, and sometimes I do this, as like a putting it out into the universe, hopefully speaking it into existence, Jarvis might be one of my, I want to see him score a goal. He hasn't been scoring, hasn't been playing bad, setting up his teammates, but I do think you want him and Aho and a few others to get more selfish and just look for their own shot more often.
Dishing out passes, though.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's not playing bad. I want him to be more selfish. What do we call it? Avocado selfishness. It's like, avocado is a good fat, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want them to be selfish, but the good selfish. Avocado selfish. Just look for their own shot a bit more. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, will continue up next with football at 4, using what I've been describing over the last week as something we call the fresh eyes effect. Looking at the Panthers with some fresh eyes. What are we going to get? Stick around.
It's bowl season.
Happy New Year!
Listen for college football's best through January 20th. Every major bowl will be brought to you live.
A 58-yard touchdown sprint for Nick Singleton, and that may just do it tonight. Penn State 30, Boise State 14.
Bowl season on 99.9 The Fan and Buzz Sports is presented by Wake Med, Sammy's Tap and Grill, and Roofworks.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
A few contest rules from sports radio stations The Fan, The Buzz. No purchase necessary. 21 to enter and play. Limited to 1 entry per person and 1 prize winner per family or household per contest every 30 days. Employees of Capital Broadcasting, its agencies, sponsors, subsidiaries, other broadcast companies, and immediate families of the above are ineligible to play. Winners are verified, complete documentation, and are responsible for all taxes and prizes received. All prizes are non-transferable and cannot be redeemed for cash. Winners give sports radio the right to publicize his or her name, likeness, or voice. Sports may change contest rules and prizes at any time and holds no liability for canceled or postponed events. Complete info of sports radio contests available at WRALSportsFan.com or during normal business hours at 3100 Highwoods Boulevard in Raleigh.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Everything for the exterior of your home, but it's also everything for the peace of mind of the customer. Talk to me about the trust factor and everything else that you guys offer.
I got to tell you, I think one of the biggest things for us is we don't take any payment from you for any of your home improvement needs until we're done with the project. I hear stories all the time about people putting down deposits with companies, 25, 50% of the project total overall, and they don't even know, they don't show up.
Right.
You've lost whatever percentage you put down, that's how much power you lost already. Right?
Right.
So with us, you pay nothing until we're done. Typically we're not the least expensive, and we're certainly not the most expensive. You get 3 or 4 estimates, we're going to fall right there in the middle. But, you're going to have a warranty that's lifetime, transferable for 10 years on any of the products we sell typically. And we've been around since 1961. You can trust us. We've been around forever.
It is about trust. And I think you guys are the most trustworthy business that I know. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Anthony Baglione. It is a chilly forecast as we head through the rest of today with a high of 47 this afternoon. It comes with nothing but sunshine, just a few high-level clouds coming in, but should be pretty quiet in that regard, just on the chilly side, so make sure to have the winter coat or jacket handy.
4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is down 163 points to 42,381.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's talk a little fresh eyes on this football at 4 for the Carolina Panthers. What I mean by that is, and I talked about this earlier in the week, I took a week with Christmas in the middle and kind of, I don't want to say unplugged because I was still watching the games, but I didn't watch them as professionally as I usually do. Didn't have the notebook in front of me, didn't do any of that kind of stuff. And part of that was because, well, I took a week off at the holidays and I wanted to be off at the holidays. But part of it was also an opportunity to fresh eyes it. And what I mean by that is you can get into a rut watching games. If you think a team's offensive line is great, you can just start your notes at the beginning of every game with like offensive line playing well, and you don't even realize that you don't see it. You're in the rhythm of it.
You're just finding everything that fits what you already know.
Exactly. So if you unplug, you disconnect a little bit, you come back, it's like, all right, do I actually believe all of those things that I was just saying every week? It's a good like little spot check. But the other part that was kind of interesting is through Dennis and I taking different time off and Dennis having to cover for Adam and all this other moving and shaking during the holidays that happens, I'm sure, at every business, right? Got to cover for different people. We haven't worked together in what, like week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
So it's good for this reason. Normally, Dennis and I know our opinions exceptionally well. Like I half the time I'm saying like, Dennis, I know you agree with this, or Dennis, I know you disagree with this, as I make my points because we talk about it so much. So having this little gap allows me to kind of not challenge, but kind of see it from a different angle and see what you're going at. So this morning, I'm clicking around, I'm watching games, I'm watching YouTube podcasts and everything else. Which, by the way, follow us on YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. We had a bunch of growth in 2024, and we want even more on our YouTube channel in 2025. So 99.9 The Fan, look it up. One thing you'll see there is the Panthers playbook. It's Dennis's podcast. And I did exactly what you're told not to do. I saw the podcast, and the headline, right, the little thumbnail said, Panthers playbook. Panthers can still gain a lot in finale. And I went, I don't know about, no context, didn't click the link, just disagreed, like the clickbait, just disagreed with it and said, I'm going to intentionally not click on this link because I want to hear Dennis explain it to me himself. And luckily, we host a show together. Mm-hmm. So Dennis, what can the Panthers gain in the finale that either they haven't already proven or that can change your opinion of? What can they really do in a game at the end of the season against a rookie quarterback in Penix in Atlanta?
So when Chris Lee and I were talking about this final game against Atlanta, we're talking about we don't obviously want this team to just lay down and just human nature can obviously be, hey, you know what? It's the last game of the year. Let's just go home. Yep. Let's just get this thing over with. There's that human nature. But I think it's an opportunity for Carolina, especially with Dave Canales and the young pieces on offense, with Bryce Young, JT Sanders, Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, that young group of guys. Hey, Bryce, what's a route concept you struggle with? Hey, Bryce, what's a throw you don't feel like you nail as often as you think you should? Is it a deep corner route? Hey, you know what? I don't think I hit the deep post well. We're going to call those things for you. Let's be intentional about those. Hey, receivers, what's a route you struggle with? Hey, you know what? I feel like I struggle on the comeback route. I feel like I stop my feet, whatever it is. Okay, we're going to run those for you. JT Sanders, you haven't been involved since you've come back from your injury. Like, you think he has literally one catch since he's come back from he's been hurt. JT, we're going to make you the primary target on a few of these plays. Bryce throwing the ball, I don't care what the defense does, just to make sure that you incorporate these guys. I think it's still an opportunity for these guys to work on those things, especially going into an offseason where all those guys I just mentioned, you know are going to be coming back, and you also know that your head coach is going to be coming back. Hey, let's work on a couple of things just so you can put it in your mind going into the offseason. You know what our quote-unquote core concepts, we've heard Dave Canales say that so much, our core concepts, our principles, our fundamentals. I sound like Dave right now. You know those things going in. All right, let's put some stuff on tape for you guys to watch about the stuff you struggle with, seeing you actually trying and do those things. Almost like approach of a bowl game. Let's work on those things.
And this is where, like, this is the lesson. You should click on the link. You shouldn't just disagree with headlines. You should click on the link. I agree with all of that. And I actually said something very similar about the Niners kind of going all out despite the fact that they knew they weren't going to make the playoffs. You can't simulate game speed as much as you want to. So you should treat every single game you have as an opportunity to learn and grow and an opportunity to, essentially get the only fastball looks you'll get all season. The thing that's what they should do. I don't think they do it.
I mean, I get it.
The thing that I disagree with, or not even disagree with, but if there's anything we've learned is since they've been eliminated, it's almost like Adam Thielen gets more targets. And I'm going like, no, that's the opposite. Before you're eliminated, you can lean on the veterans. Once you're eliminated, Xavier Legette has a bad play, go back to him on the next play. Jalen Coker should not disappear for the long stretches like he's done. You brought up Jatavian Sanders. You know how he flashed so much in the first half of the season, and then I don't even think through fault of his own, he really hasn't been given the opportunity to flash as of late. It's one of, I think, the veteran coach things that Dave Canales hopefully will develop over time, and that is, you have to understand the goals of your team from a big picture point of view. And no one is going to tell it to you, at least not on record anywhere. As soon as you're mathematically eliminated, you turn towards next season. As soon as you're mathematically, and sometimes even if you're not mathematically eliminated, but for all intents and purposes, you're eliminated, it's strangely, and again, no one will ever say it, you now have an advantage towards next year. You hear it every year. They talk about it more in the NBA, but it's true in every sport. Like the teams that make it all the way to the finals, almost as soon as the finals are over, the coach is talking about we're behind in our offseason. Everybody else has been already rested, recovered, and they're getting ready for next year. We are still exhausted from this year. If that is true, right, if the end of the regular season is the midpoint, everybody that plays deep into the postseason is at a disadvantage for the next year because less time, right? You don't have as much time to evaluate the draft. You don't have as much time to evaluate the free agents. You don't have as much time to get healthy. Then the true is the opposite way too, right? The earlier you're mathematically eliminated from this season, you can start preparing for next year by doing everything Dennis said, which is, all right, you don't throw this route very well. We're gonna make sure in each of the next 4 games, since we're mathematically eliminated, you get the chance to at least see it. If you don't throw it because the read's not there, that's not on you, but at least see it 3 or 4 times. All right, Jalen Coker, you are a awesome little diamond in the rough we may have grabbed in an undrafted free agent. Let's see what it looks like if you're our full-time number 2. because, hey, you're making the team next year. Now we have to decide whether we pencil you into the 5th wide receiver spot or the 3rd wide receiver spot. Let's see. How much do we need to go spend on a mid-level free agent as a pass catcher? Or is it your job? It's one of the things that I don't think the Panthers have done a great job at in the second half of this year. And I get it. You want to win every game.
Sure.
Yeah, it's really hard. Like, Adam Thielen's making the catches. Why would I stop throwing it to Adam Thielen? Mm-hmm. It goes against everything that you've been learning your entire life in competition. But it truly is. Like, if your goal is just to win a handful more games each year, that's great. I think most NFL teams, all NFL teams, should operate as if their goal is to win a Super Bowl as, close to here as possible, as soon as possible. And those don't always add up, right? And you could get into the really dramatic stuff, like, getting up draft picks and making sure that those things, aren't tainted by a meaningless win at the end of the season. But even less than that, it's like, hey, if you want to win a game with your young guys, that's better than winning a game with your old guys, right? It's better because more of them are going to be around. And it makes those old guys expendable, which usually ends up saving you more cap money. You have to look at each individual contract, but for every guy on a rookie contract that you can pencil in as a starter, that's great savings, like great savings. Cost control, rent control departments out there in the starting lineup. So there is something that the Panthers can do to gain value for next year when they're playing against the Falcons. By the way, you're going to get a super fastball look from the Falcons.
Oh, they have something to play for.
They are, as of right now, the 9th seed in the NFC, but they're the only team that is not currently in the playoff projections that is not mathematically eliminated.
If they win and Tampa loses to the Saints, Falcons are in.
Yes, exactly.
Simple as that. So they have everything to play for.
So you get to go out there and, like Dennis said, kind of sharpen your tools against somebody that is not doing this for play. They're not sparring, even if you are.
Yeah.
And that's, the joy that comes with being a bad team is your second half or third end of the season is different than all these other teams.
And there may have been some opportunities that Carolina wanted to use some of the young guys. I know Leggett was hurt for a little bit. Same with Coker, Sanders with the neck injury. So these young guys all have missed some time in the back half of the season. So maybe just getting those guys back up to speed and stuff. It's like, well, we would love to go to Xavier Leggett, but he's not playing today. Hey, we'd love to go to Jalen Coker, but he's not playing today.
And I've said this a few times. We haven't worked together in a while, so you probably haven't heard it. If Xavier Leggett's playing the way Xavier Leggett has been playing recently for a contender, he gets glued to the bench. Like he's not been making enough plays. I think it was the last game. He was guarded by like a slow-footed middle linebacker 25 yards downfield, and the guy got a pass breakup. If I'm a contender, I'm going. If you can't beat him, you're playing end and guard the rest of the game. End of the bench, guard of the water. Like that's where you're at. But for a team that has already mathematically eliminated, I'm going, no, your punishment is you have to go out there and run that route 10 more times. Your punishment is you better show me you're better than that. I want to confirm you can't beat a middle linebacker before I act on it. It's a different way of thinking. And then the injuries and everything, just getting guys back in rhythm, getting them targets, gain information on your young guys. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, and we have a ladder challenge coming up soon, here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. New year doesn't mean you got to let high-interest debt weigh you down, folks. Stop letting that stuff happen. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Especially you homeowners out there, listen up. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's all-new Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven technology to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day. One client recently got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours. They wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you could be credit card debt free. Get your cash
fast. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have Ladder Challenge. We have Panthers, cons, and don't forget, we are about 20 minutes away from needing your first goal scorer predictions. Who scores the first goal and in what period do they score it for the Canes tonight against the Florida Panthers? That's coming up in about 20 minutes. Stick around for that. It's all coming up next here on The Drive.
It's been quite the ride in 2024.
O'Connell with 1 second, left wing three on the way, banks it in! He got it! I don't believe it! It's good!
Let's do it all again next year.
I've always wanted to coach in college football. I had some good years in the NFL, so that was okay. One story I always heard was Billy's first words were, beat Duke.
From 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
This just in, hot off the bench press. Planet Fitness has added new strength equipment. Save $28 or more when you join today, and you can be one of the first to try it out. We're raising the bar with new benches, and our new hack squat will have you actually looking forward to leg day. Plus, we're still repping all of the best-in-class equipment we've always had, with most clubs open 24 hours, so you can work out your way on your time. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends January 10th. See Home Club for details.
A Gain Scent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain Scent Beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing." Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain Scent Beads. Try Gain Scent Beads. Way fresher than detergent alone.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The Sugar Bowl is underway. Nothing to speak of. 0-0. Gunnar Stockton, not exactly lighting things up for Georgia to start, but hey, it's a big moment for him. He'll maybe take a couple of moments to settle down. Notre Dame, Georgia, 0-0.
Say, hey, first career start. In a playoff game. National audience against Notre Dame.
Against an underdog. You are an underdog against an iconic squad.
Have fun.
By the way, the entire state of Georgia will absolutely despise you if it doesn't work.
Right.
College sports make a lot of sense, don't they?
Of course.
There's so much logic going on there. But I mean, it's. I'm not even going to go down that whole path. But what we can do is jump to our ladder challenge. Now, Dennis, we have to decide how we're moving forward. Are we back to the traditional ladder challenge, or are we sticking with the 3?
I say we go back to the traditional.
Okay,
I say we go back to the traditional, somewhere between minus 500 and minus 1,000.
All right, so I'll explain it all quickly here as we start January with a traditional ladder challenge. The goal is, or the situation is, both Dennis and I start with $10. You place a bet that is between minus 500 and minus 1,000. Gamblers, you know that means it's likely to bet or likely to win. If you're not a gambler, it's likely to win. It's about 83% chance to win at minus 500, and it goes up from there with implied odds. The goal is that you roll over your winnings and stake. So if you bet $10, you win 11-something. The next day, you bet the 11-something in its entirety on another likely to win bet. If you keep it up for weeks, you can really, it's, the beauty of compound interest. By the end of the week's end or months, you'll have 10, 12, 13, 14, 20 times your money. But you have to keep hitting these seemingly easy bets.
Like I did.
Until you didn't.
Yeah, well, there's that.
You kept letting it ride.
I did.
And by the way, at the end of each month, there's a winner. I'm down 2-0. December got really weird because we were doing a bunch of different stuff. So I lost October and November. But I'm coming back in 2025. Optimism, baby. As the defending champ for the last full month we played, Dennis, go ahead and take the wheel.
You know me, alternate shots on goal, Tim.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Washington Capitals take on the Minnesota Wild tonight. 2 of the top teams in the NHL, by the way. I would say watch it if you weren't watching Canes tonight. But
Canes
Alex
tonight.
Ovechkin, 2+ shots on goal, minus 550. So $10 will be $11.80. He'll get 2 shots on like 1 power play alone. Like this is it's like a gimme here.
Yeah, that's a dangerous. Gamblers out there, and I'm not superstitious, but gamblers are like notoriously superstitious. Mm-hmm. Everything you just said, they're going like, "Don't say that out loud."
Well, I just did.
It is. I mean, OV shot attempts. There's some synonymous there. I'm going to the Duke Ole Miss game. Jackson Dart, 225 plus passing yards versus Duke. 225 for a Lane Kiffin angry offense. It's minus 500, which means $10 would bring back 12. The complete stake plus $2. I just think they might throw themselves out of the game, right? There might be a bunch of picks. There might be a low completion percentage. There's no chance Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin and Jackson Dart doesn't find a way to throw for 225 yards. I just did the same thing you did, just a whole bunch of jinxing and a whole bunch of non-superstitious acting. But Dart against Duke, I think they're going to sling it around. I think they're going to try to prove a point, and I think win, lose, or draw, no matter how good Duke's offense is doing, Ole Miss is going to find a way to throw for at least 225. If we went with the old school or the new school ladder challenge where we needed 3 bets, I was going to have Jackson Dart throw over 300 yards. So that's how confident I am in this. 225, I'm absolutely taking. So we'll see how it plays out, right? Tomorrow, if we both hit, we'll have more money to bet. If not, the other part that I haven't talked about is if at any point in time this month we lose a bet, you lose all your money and you go back to starting at 10. So there's, even if you're behind by a bunch, there's still the hope that they can mess up and come back to you. January has begun. Good luck to you, sir.
Thanks. I hope we both make a lot of money here.
That would be nice. And tail picks if you want. As always, we explain why we make a pick, and if you like the reasoning, go ahead and tail them. Don't just do it blindly. I like to explain them. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I also like on Thursdays, and this could be the last one of the year. I also like on Thursdays to hit a little cons and cons for the Carolina Panthers. Cons and cons. What are you most confident in? What are you most concerned about when it comes to the Carolina Panthers? Like I said, we do this just about every Thursday. And also just about every Thursday, I say this. Hey, I got good news and bad news. Which do you want? Well, give me the bad news first. We start with concerns. My concern, and I never thought we'd get here, but we are. Got to be honest. The offensive line. I'm concerned about the offensive line. They are supposed to be the best part of every game for the offense. It's where the money is spent, right? It's where the draft picks, pretty good, like a pretty significant investment of draft picks have been spent. They weren't that against Tampa. The running game couldn't get anything going. Granted, the entire running back room was hurt.
Play calling also.
But it's also not like Raheem Blackshear was missing wide open holes. Like there was not a lot for him to work with. And then on the pass blocking side, it was horrendous. 68.6% pressure rate, which is the highest according to PFF, the highest any quarterback has faced in any game this season. When you're supposed to be the strength of the offense and you're not opening up holes in the run game and you're not pass protecting effectively, what are you doing?
Taylor Moton out, Josh Nijman in there. What did Tampa start doing? They started attacking that guy.
And I like Nijman as like when they signed him, I liked him. I liked him at Virginia Tech. I liked him with Green Bay. It's not like he doesn't have the talent. I know he's been hurt and banged up this year at different times, but no, the offensive line has to play better. They have to play better. So I'm concerned about that heading into a game against an Atlanta squad that's going to be throwing the kitchen sink at them because they need to win.
My concern, well, I mean, this was like a given. It's like, also the sun came up to me. It's the run defense. It's the rush defense for Carolina. You don't know how bad it is. Like, we know it's bad, but you know how bad it is?
I would love to know how bad it is.
They have given up over 200 yards rushing in the last 5 games.
Each.
In each of the last 5 games. Over 200 yards rushing. If they give up 170 against the Atlanta Falcons, which is very possible with Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, who both had 100-yard games against them earlier this season, be over 3,000 yards rushing allowed this season by Carolina's defense.
Not ideal.
No.
Not ideal.
So, yeah, I know it's under 17 games. I get it, but it'll be the 4th team ever to give up 3,000 yards rushing this season. I don't care if it's in 14, 15, 16, or 17 games. That's way too damn much.
It's a good point. It's a very good point. And the other thing I would throw out there is this. It's not just because part of it, if you fall behind a ton and you're just losing games, you get a lot more rushing attempts against you because teams are trying to just end the game. They're trying to move on. It's also a yards per carry thing.
Mm-hmm.
They are giving up over 5 yards per carry.
5.1, worse in the league.
So it is also like if you're behind a bunch, the other team is trying to run the ball. You shouldn't be giving up the highest efficiency stats if you're also giving up the highest volume stats. They should if teams like it, you should see it coming. So I'll give you that. Bucky Irving ran all over him in their last game, and I like Bucky Irving. I think he's a very good player, surprisingly good rookie. Might be the best rookie runner in that class.
Might be.
I don't think he's Bijan Robinson. So buckle up.
Yeah, Bijan in their last game had 15 carries for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tyler Algier had 18 carries for 105 yards and a touchdown. And a game that was actually close because it was 28-20 in the early part of the 4th quarter. Just saying.
Let's get to the more fun stuff. Let's get to confidence.
Yeah.
My confidence, and it's been a long time since we could say this. Bryce Young. I'm confident Bryce Young. That sentence came out weird. I'm confident in Bryce Young. And here's why. First of all, he was the best part of the Bucs game. I'm not saying he played well. I'm not saying he played great. I'm saying, you could argue he was the lesser of the bads. There's a few things that he's doing this year that I'm excited about. The most obvious is he's flashing big play ability, right? Again, using Pro Football Focus, since he returned from his benching, he leads the league in what they call big-time throws. That's a gift and a curse, right? Because you want him finding easy throws, but I also want him showing he can do some special. So the 3 throws to Thielen, the one down the right sideline on the first drive, and then the 2 touchdowns, that's enough to get me excited. I want to see him keep flashing that ability, and I'm excited to watch. It's not the most obvious confident thing in the world, but there aren't a ton of them at this point in the season for the Panthers. So I'm going with Bryce Young, and I'm sticking to it. Dennis, what are you confident in?
My confidence is in both Adam Thielen and Jalen Coker making contested catches. Because we've seen those guys multiple times throughout this season. I know guys were hurt at different points, but contested catches and tight windows, you talk about the aggressive throws from Bryce Young, well, generally who's pulling those down on a consistent basis? It's Thielen, but also Coker. Let's be honest, Jalen Coker has way better hands than Xavier Legette. Let's just be honest.
Yes.
He has better hands, better contested catches than Xavier Legette. It's just a fact. It's just what it is. Not saying that Xavier Legette doesn't have that potential big play in him because of his physical abilities. But contested catches, I trust Jalen Coker contested catch, and I trust Adam Thielen on a contested catch.
I think we may have just stumbled into another concern.
That Xavier Legette can't make contested catches?
No, it's Bryce Young making big-time throws into small windows, wide receivers making contested catches. Like, these are all good things, but they're also signs of receivers that aren't getting separation.
Generally.
And young quarterback, developing quarterback, nobody's super excited about, Bryce Young compared to some of the other young studs in the league. You want him to find the easy completions, and they just might not be out there, right? If you go back and listen to our shows before the draft, if you listen to anybody talking about Bryce Young before Bryce Young's draft, his superpower was his ability to process and find the open guy. Where's the open guy? It might be more of like, choosing your best 50-50 ball and giving him a shot. That's not what Bryce Young does super well. And similarly, because I've made this comparison a bunch of times, it's not what Tua Tagovailoa did very well. And Tua came into the league with the Dolphins, and who did he have? He had it was, I know one was Preston Williams.
It was like Devontae
Parker, Mike Gesicki, all of these guys that were like 6'3" and above, great jump ball contested catch guys. But that's not what Tua did well. So what did they do? They rebuilt their receiving group into Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Jonnu Smith.
Team.
And now he can throw to space. He can find the open guy and throw it to space, let the fast guys go get it. I think that's similar to what Bryce Young's skill set is, right? He finds the openings and throws it there. Right now you're asking him to fit it into small windows to guys that are great with contested catches, but they're not as speedy, maybe. Just something to think about, a little food for thought for you. This offseason, maybe you want to bring in some speed that can also catch, not just speed for speed's sake, like you might see on – never mind. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is Cons and Cons looking at the Panthers. What are we confident and concerned about heading into the final week? We probably will do one more, like heading into the offseason.
Sure.
Big picture stuff, but that's the last weekly Cons and Cons of the year. In 4 minutes, we will begin taking your Canes first goal scorer predictions. So get ready. I'll give you the number in a couple minutes here. Canes lost to Columbus. We need to address that. But also they play Florida tonight, which is the gift and the curse of NHL hockey. There's a lot of games, and you can't dwell on the ones that sting because you got a real doozy coming at you pretty quick here. In the Columbus game, so I'm going to try to connect the two, by the way. We're going to talk about both at the same time. In the Columbus game, the goals came from Ty Smith, Jack Roslovic, and Jesperi Kotkaniemi. In the last 5 games, Svech, Necas, Jarvis have a combined 0 goals scored. Svech has gone 6 games without scoring a goal. Necas has gone 11 games without scoring a goal. That's an issue. And by the way, Jarvis isn't necessarily playing bad. We know that Necas has racked up points, and I it's hard to expect Necas to stay on the pace he was earlier this year. But the stars have to be stars in the NHL. The stars have to be stars in the NHL. And especially a game like that game against Columbus, where, it's overtime, it's shootouts. Like, it only took one superstar effort for 30 seconds, and you steal a win against a bad team. And it didn't happen. And now you're rolling into the Florida Panther game, which is a big game, rivalry game. It's going to be high energy. It's in their arena. And I always talk about how big games, big players need to step up, and they're just it's not in rhythm. There is a kind of a cycle that happens with the Canes. And it's happened since I started covering them. It's happened before that, which is everybody knows they're talented. They go through these lulls where the stars maybe aren't seizing the game by the throat. And then Rod Brindamore in a post-game says, I need more from our top guys. He uses the term top guys. There might be a players-only meeting. There might be some other instigating event. And then it kicks back into gear. The stars start producing until, sometime in the weeks to months in the future, it happens again. The stars need to be stars, and I think in a big game like tonight, it'll be very obvious if they aren't kicking that into gear. And again, Jarvis is setting guys up. We know that Aho is always looking to set up his line mates. I get it. But there is something more star pizzazzy, if that's a word. I'm gonna use a lot of pizzazzy in 2025. There's something more star pizzazzy in scoring the goal and wanting to shoot and thinking I could set them up, but nah, I just want to let it fly. And I think the Canes need a healthy dose of that, and I want to see it tonight. I want the shots on goal to be dominated by players making $8 million or more, and Natchez, who will be shortly if he picks it back up.
Natchez, you talking about his goalless drought, 11 games. He has just 4 assists during that stretch.
Not
he also
the best.
has a -6.
Not the best.
Not getting a whole lot. And I think a lot of it is, I know Jesperi Kotkaniemi just scored the other night, but Jesperi Kotkaniemi hasn't been producing either. And those two guys have been on a line together. Mm-hmm. Kotkaniemi turns the puck over oftentimes in the center, in the neutral zone, in the middle part of the ice, which forces those guys to have to play on their defensive end more often. Which, hey, guess what? I can't score from my own end. If I'm not getting the puck in the offensive zone, guess what? I can't score quite as much. But that doesn't mean that Nate just hasn't had power play opportunities and power play time. I know the last few games, Seth Jarvis, over that same 11-game stretch, he has 1 goal, but at least he's been contributing more in terms of point production. The last 4 games, he has 5 assists. I'll take that.
And then, you start getting steps and steps and steps away. Whose responsibility is it to kick Kotkaniemi in gear?
Kotkaniemi.
Well, obviously him, but also
don't throw the puck over, bud.
Like team leaders are team leaders for a reason, right? Like so if it's Rod getting him off that line, if it's you can't just go like, well, Kotkaniemi's not playing well, so we're cool with Nature's not producing. Like it needs to, like something's got to figure it out. If it's Rod, if it's a player, if it's Kotkaniemi, if it's Natchez, if it's something, like you can't. They're way too good to palms to the sky and go, what do you want me to do? They're way too talented of a group of top guys. And tonight's an opportunity for that to happen. If you think it's a top guy, if you think it's one of the not top guys, it's time to get some Canes first goal scorer predictions. We have a sweet prize to give away. I will give you more info on it in a second. But we are opening up the phone lines. We need 3 official contestants. Heister Automotive Group hotline is now open, 919-860-5326. 919-860-5326. Call in with who you think will score the first goal for the Carolina Hurricanes and in what period they will score it. If you get both of those right, you get the ultimate sim racing experience at Apex Racing Lab. We have a gift card to Apex Racing Lab where you can rev up your engines, the Triangle's largest sim racing destination. Experience the ultimate thrill with 20 cutting-edge simulators, expert instructors, and world-class virtual tracks located in Carys-McGregor Village in Greater Raleigh. Visit Apex Racing Lab today and unleash your racing passion. Learn more at apexracinglab.com. We need a name, meaning a Canes player, and we need a period in which the first goal will be scored. We have our 3 contestants on the line. These are the official contestants. If you are not one of the 3 that are waiting anxiously to make your prediction on air, you can still comment on our YouTube live stream in the comments there with who you think will score and in what period. You'll be doing it for the glory of bragging rights, not for the prize. But we still want to know, if you know this team, if you can make the prediction. So we'll give you your credit if you get it right, just not the prize. Barry and Selma, you are up first. Barry, who scores the first goal for the Canes and in what period?
I think Jarvis in the first.
Jarvis in the first. Do you want to give us any more details than that? Is there any? This would be for bragging rights. Is it a power play? Is it a shorty? Is it off a rebound? What are we looking at?
I just got a feeling.
All right, got a feeling. Sometimes you got to trust your gut. Barry, appreciate it. Stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab from you. Gus in Morrisville, you are up next. Gus, who scores the first goal and in what period?
Aho in the first on a shorthanded goal.
Aho in the first on a shorty. Aho does have 3 goals in the last 5 games, so he's not quite on the drought. Some of the other top guys are. Not a bad pick. Gus, appreciate it. Go ahead and stay on the line.
Thank you.
And that means Brian in Holly Springs, you're the last official contestant. Brian, who scores the first goal and in what period?
Give me Bernsey in the first period on a power play.
Bernsey in the first. I think that's a crowd favorite. I think anytime Burns does anything, you're going to get everybody involved. And I think that would be hilarious in the Panthers arena. So appreciate it. Stay on the line. Dennis will grab some info from you. While Dennis grabs that info, I'll give you mine. I have Martin Natchez in the first. Speak it into existence, everybody. It's time for Natchez to break the lid. Pop it off, break the seal, whatever you want to call it. It is Natchez in the first. Just to let everybody know that the last kind of the little drought that he's been on the last 11 games and the drought that the Stars have been on for the last 5, 6, 7 games, whatever it's been, that is a thing of the past. I think if they are – actually, I'll throw this out there just kind of as an aside. I think if the first period has a goal from one of the three guys on the drought, either Jarvis, Svech, or Natchez, if the first period has a goal from one of those three, I think the Canes win the game. If they don't, I think it becomes a much, much more difficult situation. And that's not to say they have to score the first goal of the game, right? If you want to score 2 or 3 in the first, that helps. But if the first period does not have a goal from one of those three, Natchez, Svech, or Jarvis, I think it becomes a much more difficult game for them to win. That's just, I like if-then statements. If blank happens, then the team will win. If one of those three score in the first period, then the Canes will win the game. Dennis, now that I see you are off the phone, go ahead and make your first goal score prediction for bragging rights.
You know a guy that's often overlooked for first goals, yet scores a lot of first goals when he does score? Eric Robinson.
I was just going to say
give me Eric Robinson to get the first goal off a redirect in front of the net.
I mean, if the drought for all the studs stays active, then you're going to have to pick somebody who feels a little off the beaten path, right? A little not down Main Street. And Robinson, you brought it up. He's done pretty well early in games. He looks for his shot early. He's not afraid to, first, second shift, let it fly. So not a bad one. I don't hate it. I still think it's unlikely. You'll get good odds on it if you want to bet it. But I don't hate the pick.
By the way, he's approaching his career highs already in terms of goals and points in a season. His career high in a season for goals is 12. It came back in the 2022-2023 season with Columbus. He had 12 goals that season. His most for points was the previous year where he had 27 points on 10 goals and 17 assists. He has 9 goals and 11 assists already this season. Now, he's on pace to be a 40-plus point guy for this team.
We've done this a few times, but I'll do it again. Shout out to the front office of the Canes.
Yeah.
The guys they brought in are performing better than they have in recent years, which means whatever their analytics or whatever their eye test told them they would be a good fit for what the Canes are doing has been right. The guys that they've brought in have been pretty – Roslovic, the guys that they've brought in have been pretty good, specifically the point producers up front. So shout out to the Canes front office. Now you just need some of the guys that have been around for a while to get back to producing super high levels. Like a little bit of a drought. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have a feedback frenzy. Hearing from some of you coming up next.
The Adam Gold Show.
I don't understand why people can't wrap their minds around that the college football universe is going to be vastly different than it's ever been. We might not recognize it based on what happened last year, let alone 5 years ago. What's to say that Bill Belichick won't be the first of many NFL coaches to take over a college program?
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Stop letting high-interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox from my friends at Loan Pronto. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you could be credit card debt free. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
A Gain Sent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain Scent beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing." Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain scent beads. Try Gain scent beads. Way fresher than detergent alone.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Terms and conditions apply.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm not the biggest fan of New Year's resolutions, right? Because part of me thinks it just makes the end of your previous year really like you're not growing very much because you're like, I want to get healthy, but it's December 6th, so I'll just chill till January 1st.
Hey, there's a lot of cookies that are already been made. I'm going to eat them,
Yeah.
okay? Someone has to consume these.
Kicking all like your self-betterment down the road because the calendar is going to change.
Exactly.
But I did think about this while getting ready for today's show. I do want one of our show's resolutions to be like incorporate the listeners more. Whether it's by YouTube comments, taking callers, just because I think, the more perspectives, the better. And I want you to be our fact checkers. I want you to be our second opinions on a lot of this. So one of the ways to do that is something we call a feedback frenzy. So let's go ahead and jump in. Feedback frenzy. Dennis peruses our YouTube comments all over the videos we've put out in the last however many days, and he finds the best comments, the best questions, the best arguments, and he brings them up on the show. So, Dennis, what are we working with today?
All right, so earlier we had a conversation regarding UNC basketball. That's how we started the show
Earlier
off
today, yeah.
Because UNC basketball lost yesterday 83-70 on the road at Louisville. And this one actually comes from Jameson Ori. We'll go with it.
What's up, Jameson?
As a Carolina fan, this segment is spot on. Can't argue with any of this. This is regarding NC State football being much, or yes, UNC football being very much like NC State football.
UNC basketball being very much like NC State football as far as expectations high, then quickly in the year having to change all those expectations.
But Cam said UNC basketball should never be compared to NC State football. UNC is a blue blood, but the results are awful as of late.
I agree. UNC basketball should never be compared to darn near any football team in college football because of the success and because of the prestige. And you have Michael Jordan as a former player. You shouldn't be. So it is not my problem that so many of the similarities add up, right? You should be better than you are. I agree. It's not. I'm just, observing the score, right? You should never lose to Louisville by double digits. But you did, right? The results are what the results are. It's or is he saying this? This could be the opposite. Are you saying it's worse for UNC basketball because of who UNC basketball is?
Maybe. I don't know.
Is that like, when you get mad at a smart student for getting a A-? Like no, you're right. The expectations for UNC basketball are significantly higher than NC State football. So it is much worse that they are in the same place, 40% of the way through the season or whatever it is. That's one way to look at it. I agree with you on all accounts. What else you got?
All right. Speaking of NC State football, this actually comes from Ken Perry regarding NC State losing to East Carolina. Remember, they opened the season against ECU next year.
Weird, but yes.
If NC State doesn't beat ECU next year, Dave Dorn needs to be fired after the game. That comes from Ken Perry.
I don't think that will happen. I think sometimes the writing can be on the wall after one game where it's everybody doesn't necessarily have to be fired on the tarmac like Lane Kiffin was at USC, where it's like you don't even get to address the team in the locker room after.
I forgot about that.
But
I forgot about
you
that.
you can seal your fate with one of those kind of losses. But I don't think you act on it. I agree, though. That game becomes wildly more important after losing it in the bowl game, because there's arguments, and we've made them, that the bowl games that aren't college football playoff bowl games just don't matter as much anymore. And I think it's a problem with college football, and they should entertain all options to put more sizzle into the non-CFP bowl games. But if you go out there and destroy ECU with the first game next year, and you win by a bunch, and you look like tremendously a higher level program, there will be part of you that goes, see, those bowl games don't matter. If you go out there and lose, and it's like, ooh, that's 2 strikes. That's bad. So yeah, I think you can seal your fate early in the season. I don't think they'll actually act on it, though.
All right, this conversation about Robert and I being fired. You and Graham had that conversation on
Robert
Tuesday.
and I, the offensive coordinator for the past 2 seasons at NC State, fired a couple days ago.
So this one comes from the watchdog. CJ Bailey is awesome. His potential is unlimited. He can do it all. This offense should have been wide open. They had the talent.
Actually, I will agree and disagree with that. CJ Bailey is awesome. I'm a big fan. And I'm on record probably too many times saying he's arguably the best true freshman quarterback in the country. I also understand that just because a young quarterback looks good doesn't mean you immediately go like 38 attempts a game. How does that sound? Sometimes you understand, hey, he's great with 24 attempts. Let's try 26. Like, you don't want to put too much on his plate too early, which is why you hear me say things like the best friend of a young quarterback is a running game. The best thing of a young quarterback is a great punter. The best thing for a young quarterback is a great defense, because you don't want to be forced to put too much on their plate. I have a lot of problems, and I've voiced them with how Robert and I ran the offense. One of the few things that did happen pretty well this year is CJ Bailey was put into a really tough spot, and he looked good and developed as the season went along. I think you could argue and nitpick just about anything else that happened with the offense. I think that's why Kurt Roper got the offensive coordinator job. He was the quarterback's coach for Bailey, and they wanted some stability in his development, even with a changing of the guard at the OC play caller spot.
All right, this one comes from Robert's 2 cents, along the same lines again of Robert and I being fired as offensive coordinator for the Wolfpack. Who does Doran have photos of? 12 years and no conference titles, no conference championship games, and no 10-win seasons. Is there any other program in the country that keeps their coach this long without a major success to show for it? At least 80% of the coaches coaching today in modern football could have done better during this stretch.
All right, some of that was fact, some of that was opinion.
Yeah.
The facts you can't argue with, right? It's all the years, the non-10-win seasons, all of that. It is.
That's just true.
That's just facts.
True.
80% could have done better. You get into the opinion part, and the opinion part is like they spent a decent amount of money on a quarterback. That quarterback was lost very early in the year. A lot of teams are going to struggle with that. Here's how I think of Dave Doran. And you can go back and find other conversations where I say, these 3 things might be the reason why they're okay keeping him and all that other stuff. I also covered the University of Nebraska early in my career when Bo Pelini was their coach.
Oh, Bo Pelini.
And Bo Pelini was 9 wins a year, every year.
Mm-hmm.
Just 9 wins, 9 wins, 9 wins, 9 wins. And eventually Nebraska got tired of it. Eventually it was, why aren't you taking the next step? Dave Doran is not that. Dave Doran is like 7 wins, 7 wins, 4 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins, 4 wins, 8 wins, 7 wins, 6 wins, 9 wins. And that makes it feel like, all right, if he does his bad again, then he's gone, and then he wins 8 or 9, and you're like, all right, that was better than last year. Let's see if he can build off of it. So like the valleys and I wouldn't even, maybe not peaks, but like top of the hills make it feel like he's making strides, right? At the 2023 season, he won 9 games, spent a bunch of money in the portal. Like, you can't tell me anybody was not excited about this year for NC State. That excitement was like, oh, look at this. They might do something. A bad year. Now it's all right. If he has another one, by the end of next year, there's a good chance everybody's going to be hyped again for the following year. And it's that roller coaster. So I don't think it's crazy that he's still around. I can see why maybe you'd be against it, but I don't think it's outlandish. What
All
else
right,
we got?
there's a lot of people, again, still upset at Dave Doran.
Yeah,
including,
and like I said, I understand it.
Gregor's Outdoor says, hiring from within is a cop-out. It shows that the top brass is not interested in changing our trajectory in the near future. Also, this one comes from Coffee Mountain, something along those lines. Talking about Robert and I being fired and Roper being hired as the OC. Doesn't matter as long as Dave Doran is still there. The Pack will be mediocre at best. Guy has been in over his head from the beginning. So a lot of Dave Doran pushback and hate. There's a lot of Hubert Davis pushback and hate with UNC basketball right now.
The similarities. We opened the show with
right.
The similarities.
Go figure.
I don't necessarily love the coordinator hires. I don't say there's a 0% chance they're successful, but Roper and Elliott, hiring from within, sometimes it's not a choice. What I mean by that is sometimes you wanted to hire the awesome rising candidates from outside the program, but it takes two to tango. Like, as Dennis has brought up a few times, there's a lot of conversation around the NC State program for get rid of Dave. Well, Dave this, Dave that. You don't think agents and other coordinator candidates can't like hit a Google search and see what everybody's saying about Dave Doran and then go, I don't know if it's a great career move to go somewhere where the head coach doesn't have super stable footing as job security goes. Right? Because if the head coach gets fired, guess who else does? Everyone on that staff, usually. Sometimes not, but usually. So if I'm an offensive coordinator, I'm looking for a defensive coordinator, I'm looking for a different place. I'm looking for somewhere where they're not actively calling for the head coach's job all over every message board and YouTube comment and everything else. So promoting from within, they're already hitching their ride to Dave Doran, right? Kurt Roper and Dave Doran, they're together already. So, getting the promotion is just, hey, this is even if you think it's our last year, you want to have a promotion, you want to make more money for a season. It's that way. So, I wish we all had fly on the wall status to everything that goes on in the head coach's office, and you could hear all the calls he made and all the texts and emails he sent out gauging interest. But we just don't have that. We don't know if the coordinators were his first choices or his 15th choices, and we're never going to know. Do we have time for one more?
We actually do not.
All right. In that case, we have to get ready for the starting five, including we'll look at Canes against the Florida Panthers tonight. There's college football going on as we speak, and one solo Carolina Panther on the Pro Bowl rosters.
Let's
Who
go.
made the cut? Stick around.
Keep pounding. Panther Talk. Panthers Playbook. The Paw Print. Follow your Carolina Panthers all season with us.
There's the shotgun snap. Four-man rush. Young with time. Sends it deep downfield for Thielen. Makes the catch in the end zone for a Carolina touchdown.
Your home for complete Carolina Panthers coverage. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
This is Creighton Blackwell from Coastal Credit Union and 99.9 The Fan, and we're here at South Garner High School to celebrate our next Scholar Athlete of the Month. And that Scholar Athlete is Samayan Jones.
It means a lot to me because my parents, they want me to do well and make it in life, so this is for them. I try to work hard in the classroom and on the court for them and do my best.
He's never trying to bring no negative energy, and I feel like that's what makes him a more productive teammate.
My teammates, they encourage me a lot because, I've been through injuries. They cheer me on because 2 games ago was my first time getting back on the court. So they cheer me on, encourage me every day. That's why I keep doing what I do.
He was always there in practice, just cheering us up and just carrying us on for practice, even though he wasn't playing. So that just shows what type of guy he is.
And then I have him in my class, so he's a great student as well. Just last week, one of his real good friends, he's like, Junior's just a good vibe, man. And that's what he is.
Congratulations to Mayan.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. We had a very cold day. It'll be chilly again tonight with a low around 30 with increasing clouds. Tomorrow we've got a cold front coming in. There could be some sprinkles late in the day, maybe a light rain shower, breezy and milder, 53.
5 o'clock check of your money here on 99.9 The Fan. Dow Jones down 152 points to 42,392.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we jump into the starting five, and I'm looking forward to it. It's a good one. I do want to remind everybody, or let you all know, that tomorrow's show for The Drive will be a 1-hour show. We will be on air from 3 to 4. And
There's
then
a sprint.
And then we will turn things over to bowl action. Which bowl is it there?
I believe we have the Cure Bowl tomorrow.
The Cure Bowl, of course.
Who doesn't want the Cure Bowl?
There's just so many names and some great teams.
I'm sorry, the First Responder Bowl, North Texas, Texas State, 4 o'clock kick.
Oh, well, First Responder I don't want to make fun of, so
sure.
I take back everything I said about the ridiculous names. So, is that what Cure Bowl is for?
I have no idea.
No. It's like the Cure Cancer Bowl, and I'm up here making jokes.
Let's not go there.
No. The First Responder Bowl will be on the air beginning at 4 o'clock tomorrow. So, if you want the Drive with Dennis and I, be here at 3, ready to rock and roll. And we will action pack it for you. Just like we will right now for the starting five. Action pack it starting with number 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
With it now, Kane sent it in the score. Roslovic, what a setup! Jarvis to Roslovic, and we're tied at 2.
Canes at Panthers tonight, 7 p.m. puck drop. The Stormwatch with Adam Gold will be ahead of that, beginning at 6:30, immediately following Overdrive that we host from 6 to 6:30. So it's a big game for the Canes. We haven't done this in a while, and part of it is because Dennis and I haven't been working together a bunch recently. Scale of 1 to 10. How big of a game, coming off of a little skid for the Canes? You're on the road. You're at the Panthers. You know that history. How big of a game, 1 to 10?
I'm going to give this one an 8.
Yeah. As far as regular season goes, I don't think you can get much. I might even go like 8 and change, 8.5.
Yeah.
This is a big game. And I want to see a few things. One, I want to see edge. And you're gonna think I'm a broken record on this one. I want this team to scrap. I want them to, I used this talking with Victoria Vodenecker when I was hosting the Adam Gold show a couple days ago, because she hadn't quite heard this take yet. Have you heard of Woe versus Go?
I'm sure I have,
okay.
But go on.
it's using a horse metaphor, but with a team or with a player, I'd much rather, as a coach or as a trainer, mentor, whatever, have to go, whoa, easy, buddy, bring it back.
Oh, okay, I know what you mean.
Than to have to go like, come on, man, go, do it, come on, get up, right? Go. The Canes right now feel like they're more, you need to tell them go than whoa. I want, it's always so tough to say, but I know athletes out there understand what I'm saying. I want them to cross the line a few times, right? I want them to push the limit, be a little too physical, be a little too edgy, be a little too protective of your team, be a little too much, and have, whoa. It's the, we'll use a sports movie metaphor. You've seen The Blind Side, I assume.
Of course.
Everybody has. There's the moment where it's high school for Michael Orr, the main character, and the coach finally realizes, like, this guy's loyal as all get out. So he just starts going berserk on the ref, right? That's my boy. And then Michael Orr grabs me, Coach, I got you, right? Like, you don't have to yell like that. I can take it from here. I need someone to be the coach in that situation, right? Aho is never going to be the edgiest guy in the league. He's quiet. I think he's a really nice guy. I think he's an unbelievably good hockey player. You need somebody to go berserk so Aho can be like, I'm not going to do my Aho impression, but everybody has one, right? It's like, hey, relax. I got this. Somebody's got to bring the fury. I want to see that, and I want to see Pyotr Kochetkov have a good game. If there's two wishes I have for the new year with the Canes, it's that they're going to have more sandpaper and that they're going to figure out the goalie situation. That's what I'm looking for. One very tangible, one very intangible, but I think they need them both if they're going to achieve something magnificent at the end of this season and into the postseason. And, when better for your goalie to have a unbelievable game than a big game on the road against the Panthers? Canes are obviously the underdog. Martin Necas, if you want to score, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
just
nice.
to get people to stop talking about the 11-game goal scoring drought.
Yeah.
If Jarvis wanted, I know Jarvis playing well, but 5 games without a goal, I'd like to see you score more than that.
Sure.
Svetch, if you want to, score for the first time in 6 games, I'd be okay. This is a big game. 8.5 out of 10. Stars show up. Anything I'm missing?
No.
I'm sure there is, but
Juha Jaska making his NHL debut tonight because Tyson Jost is out. Actually, he was sent back to Raleigh early.
I did hear you kind of doing the research earlier. Can you give us a Jaska, 2-sentence scouting report?
Jaska is actually 26 years old. He's actually played 300 games or over 300 games professionally in Finland. Undrafted player, but getting his chance to actually come to North America and actually play. Big body guy. He's like 6 foot 210, 6'1", 210. So he's a bigger body guy. Canes fans might remember a guy by the name of Saku Menelainen from a few years ago. Similar type trajectory, I guess you could say, or path about how he got here to the NHL. His last 17 games in Chicago, 16 points, Tim.
Does he get angry?
I mean, he might.
I hope he does.
I hope he does too.
How funny would that be? Just the new guy out there, like, back me up, I'm going in for a fight. And I was like, whoa. See? Whoa.
Like,
rather than go.
Like this guy, let's go.
Whoa.
Pyotr Kochetkov would be like, let's go, buddy.
That's the hard part. I love that from Kochetkov, but you just can't afford him to do any of it right now.
Yeah.
That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. All together.
The give to Thomas straight ahead. He's got a first down. He's got a touchdown. The Blue Devils roll the dice, and it pays off. It's 13-3 with the extra point to come.
Star Thomas scoring that touchdown there.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he is in the portal. If I'm not mistaken. Could you Google that real quick? I just had that flash into my yeah, all right. On 3, Duke, former NC State running back, Star Thomas enters the transfer portal. Which means he will be looking at his 4th school if he leaves Duke. He was a community college guy, then New Mexico State, then Duke, and now wherever he's going.
Yeah, he was rewarded an extra year after the JUCO ruling.
Mm-hmm, which we I hate that for college football, but I'm not going to allow myself to get revved up by it. Malik Murphy gone, obviously. I don't believe Star Thomas will be playing in the game. Duke is at a little bit of a they're all hands on deck. Whoever's if you've got a pulse and you've been with our team this year, be ready to make a play because we might have to call on you for Duke against Ole Miss tonight. Ole Miss, top 25 team, been writing a lot of checks with their mouths. Lane Kiffin doing a lot of tweeting about how the SEC should have got more teams in the college football playoff. So Duke is going to have at least a motivated team that's trying to prove something to go up against in the Gator Bowl tonight. Duke is in a similar situation to where they've been all year, and that is there's probably not a lot of people outside of your locker room that are expecting much from you. And Duke fans, you've reminded me on social media enough. I've had to put my hand up and say I didn't think they were going to be this good this year. I thought they'd take a step back. They lost Mike Elko. They lost Aeneas Peoples. They lost Riley Leonard. They lost two future professional or current professional offensive linemen. There was a lot of hey, I'm not sure Duke's going to have a fun year this year. They've had a great year. 9 wins. Opportunity for 10 in a bowl game. Nobody's expecting you to get 10 wins in the bowl game, right? It's a 17 whatever point spread. Ole Miss is the favorite, but that's where you've been all year. You might maybe comfortable in it, right? Maybe it'd be weird if people started believing in you because you wanted to yell at them like, if you weren't with us at the beginning, don't get with us now. I like what Manny Diaz is building there. There's bowl games are in a weird spot, right? Henry Beelan starting at quarterback. Henry Beelan, I mean, he's not the plan, and he wasn't the plan, if that makes any sense. Like Malik Murphy was the plan for this year. Darian Mensah, the transfer from Tulane, the plan for next year. And there's just this, international waters of a bowl game. If there's one thing the college football world has to figure out, it's how to get back to limiting eligibility. If there's two things the college football world has to figure out, it's their schedule. You can't have these games that are unowned. This year's bowl game for Duke feels like it's not owned by the 2024 Duke Blue Devils, and it won't be owned by the 2025 Duke Blue Devils. You just have this one random game in the middle that is it shouldn't count towards anything. That needs to be fixed. Now, Dave Doran had an idea, and I don't know if he was the first to have it, but I kind of love it. Move the college football season up a month. Have the national championship on New Year's.
Yeah.
Then you don't open the transfer portal until after the national championship, and everybody still has, for the most part, 2 weeks to get enrolled to wherever they want to if they're going to transfer out the next semester. Mm-hmm. The issue now is these bowl games are going into the new year. Some semesters are starting up already, and you have to have chosen your next spot in order to be enrolled to participate in spring practice and everything. That's why Duke here is kind of in a no man's land. If you had the month earlier, portal doesn't open until after the national championship, which would have been played yesterday, your quarterback from last year, Malik Murphy, would have played in it. And then it would be bowl games are still the exclamation point on the end of 2024, not the beginning of 2025, and not the no man's land that it is right now. But with all that being said, go win the game, Duke.
Yeah,
I want to shut up Lane Kiffin. That's
Don't
number
we all?
That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Snap, toss right, Scattaboo. He'll throw it deep downfield. It is caught at the 10, 5, touchdown, Arizona State.
Touchdown, Arizona State. Cam Scattaboo. Almost Scattabooyad his way into the quarterfinals with Arizona State.
Dude's a tank.
Yeah, I have a feeling there's going to be some murals, some big pictures outside the stadium for Arizona State of Cam Scattaboo. I think he's somebody that you either love or you hate. His personality, he wears it on his sleeve. He was really good last night. And Arizona State, who nobody gave a chance against Texas, had Texas facing a 4th and 13, and they had to either pick up the first down or score to continue to, and then get the 2-point conversion to continue the game. That's about as close as you can get to winning a game without actually winning it. So credit to Arizona State. They're just a couple. I do think, and this is funny. This is a side note, but I do think it should be brought up. ESPN mentioned a whole bunch of times during the broadcast about how Arizona State is recently off of sanctions, and it's unbelievable what their coach, Kenny Dillingham, has been able to build in a short amount of time with these sanctions so recently in their history. And they never once acknowledged that current ESPN employee Herm Edwards was the coach that made all of those sanctions a deal, right? He was the one that was being sanctioned because he was the former Arizona State coach. They never once said like, yeah, our guy, the reason why. They just kind of ignored that part of the story.
It's funny when they show him on network stuff. They never mentioned former Arizona State head coach.
Nope.
They never mentioned. They never mentioned with Jeff Saturday, former interim NFL head coach. They never mentioned those things. Go figure.
Well, it would be one thing if he was just bad at Arizona State, which Jeff Saturday was with Indy. Like they're like, oh, they came back from where this program was, and then never acknowledged like our guy put them there. But it was wildly impressive by Arizona to Arizona State to do what they did. I mean, Scattaboo was not somebody that was a 5-star recruit. If you catch my drift there,
he was a transfer from Sacramento State,
and
by the way,
was good there too.
He racked up 271 total yards yesterday, 143 rushing, 86 receiving, 42 passing, ran for 2 touchdowns, also had a 2-point conversion, and threw for a touchdown.
Is that all?
He just happened to set a single-season record for touchdowns from scrimmage in a season for Arizona State player.
Didn't do enough to win, which is kind of brutal for him.
Yeah.
Elsewhere in the
what more could you ask of the guy?
One more play,
I guess.
Everybody just needed one more play. Going on right now in the quarterfinals, Notre Dame and Georgia are tied at 3 with about 7 minutes to go in the first half. Dennis predicted this would be a low-scoring game, and I think it's been that as of 7 minutes left in the second quarter. Elsewhere, Oregon got boat raced by Ohio State.
Got crushed.
That is unfortunate because Ohio State beat Oregon in the regular season. That is just like, man, bummer. But that's what the playoffs are. Ohio State looked good. Will Howard, their quarterback, I still think is their weak point if there is one, but he is a momentum player. If you let him complete a couple highlight balls to Jeremiah Smith, who looks like Julio Jones as a freshman at Ohio State, if you let him get going early, Howard can ride that wave. Then they have the running backs. Ohio State's a good team. Penn State is the one that's surprising me. I didn't think Penn State was going to look as good as they have looked, but they obviously haven't. They've gone through to the semis as well, so that's going to be, I think, a really difficult team if they keep playing as well as they've been playing. I think that will be a really difficult one to knock out. Last point, I don't know if teams are going to want to bye next year. All 3 teams that had a bye have lost thus far. And they all started real slow and then played better. And I mean, obviously, like, we can look at Oregon and be like, oh, you started slow. They played better later, but it's not like they were ever the dominant team. But Arizona State put themselves in a hole, stormed back. Boise State put themselves in a hole, then kind of got some things going. It's the old bye week conversation. Are you getting rest or getting rusty? And it looked like they got rusty and had to kick off all that rust. So next year it's going to be real fascinating what they do with those buys. Do you know what they should do?
What's that?
Add 4 teams, 16-team playoff. Nobody gets a bye. Everybody's got to play.
Oh, we're destined for that. Let's be real.
Yeah, just do it sooner rather than later. As number 3, let's jump to number 2.
Just the 2 of us.
Off the play fake, Herbert to throw. Herbert looking to the near sideline. Herbert's under pressure. He breaks away from Cloudy, throws on the run, intercepted! J.C. Horn at the 40-yard line.
The Pro Bowl rosters have been released. Now, I want to be super clear on this. The Pro Bowl is not like completely merit-based. There's fan votes. There's the equation isn't just who's the best. But it does kind of, especially the initial selections before the alternates all get thrown in there, it does kind of show like how the world looks at your season. The Carolina Panthers did not get shut out. And this is not baseball where every team is guaranteed one. Baseball, like every team has to have at least one All-Star. It's not that. You can get shut out. You can have 0. And the Panthers were not shut out. J.C. Horn, cornerback, Carolina Panthers, Pro Bowler. First of all, congratulations to J.C. Horn. He had a very good season, and he played most of the games, which is an accomplishment for him. He's a guy that aptly was given the injury-prone title there for the first few years of his career. Do you know what is ironic about it, though? Panthers may not have wanted him to make the Pro Bowl. They wanted him to play really well, but they're about to have to start negotiating with him for a contract. And, yeah, the accolades tend to make guys expect a little bit more cash. And now he's seen as one of the best corners in the conference. He's not going to be cheap. And if you're the Panthers, you can't afford to continue to let your players who develop under you into good players go make their money somewhere else. Eventually, you're going to have to pick one or pick a handful and say, no, we're going to pay you and you're going to be a building block. J.C. Horn might end up being that guy. Right? The Brian Burns left. If it's Derek Brown and J.C. Horn as your building blocks, those are two really important positions on a defense. I think I'd pay J.C.
I mean, most games he played in the season, he's played 15 this year. I know he's been a little banged up the last couple weeks. Might not play this coming Sunday, but
it's so hard to know because, from the outside, I think I would pay JC. How much really is it? And how many protections in the contract for injury is he willing to put in there? The money is so big at the top of the cornerback market. I'm just going to quickly bring them up. The top of the quarterback market is per year $24 million. That's Jalen Ramsey. That's Surtain. That's Jair Alexander at 21. If he's willing to take 7th highest paid corner in the league money, I think you lock him up. If he demands top 2, gosh, that's tough.
I think especially the fact that you can hold against him, hey, look, you've been injured in every single year of your career.
True.
And some major ones where you've missed massive chunks of time. Your talent, we know, is there.
And that's where you don't know, because some guys who are injured a lot get the logic. Okay, well, we'll put in some protections. If I get hurt, my guaranteed money drops or whatever. Some guys are like, no, I get hurt a lot, which is why I need these guarantees to be all the way up.
For sure, I get it.
It's without knowing the numbers, I don't know. But he did make the Pro Bowl. Any snubs from Carolina?
I know they had some alternates with Robert Hunt as an offensive lineman, and same with Chuba Hubbard being named as alternates. I mean, that's probably those two if to be in consideration. And I think also Johnny Hekker is a punter, which sure. But to me, Robert Hunt and Chuba Hubbard definitely being as alternates is a good sign because those guys I think actually had really good seasons as well. I just find it weird that one of the worst defenses in the league ended up getting a guy in the Pro Bowl.
I have to correct myself here. I said Oregon lost to Ohio State. They definitely did not.
Wait, Oregon lost to Ohio State?
I said that they lost in the regular season. It was bad luck. I was.
I mean, the Ohio State lost to Oregon in the regular season.
Yeah, I misremembered that one, which is crazy. But
yeah,
that was
Oregon
a close
went
game.
Undefeated in the regular season.
So I flipped it. Is basically what I was doing there because Ohio State then won against Oregon. Am I getting crazy here?
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I thought you said that.
Yeah. Okay. I think I had that right. Somebody corrected me on Twitter.
Well, that's fine.
Take
we
that,
knew what
Steve.
you were talking about. Yeah.
Steve's always looking for me to mess up.
Don't you on-air math?
I that's what I had that feeling of oh, did I do on-air math and mess up again? I had that feeling when I saw it, but no. The team that won during the regular season got smacked in the playoff, which is a bummer because it's oh, we're 1-1 now, but you get to advance. That's my point.
Mm-hmm.
That's number 2, the Pro Bowl rosters. Let's get to number 1.
One of the areas that we haven't been as consistent has been late in games, and that's something that's just going to have to change the remainder of the season.
The other thing that's funny about Steve on Twitter is his Twitter handle is No Duke, which means I think he's probably a UNC fan. So enjoy this one. UNC basketball is in a tough spot. They're not playing well. They just lost to Louisville by double figures. And in some years, it's not going to worry you that much at this point in the season because you're going to have 10 opportunities for big resume-building wins, 15 opportunities for big resume-building wins in the ACC. You're not going to have all those opportunities this year. The ACC is down. We've talked about it. Those legendary coaches that just consistently had teams up there in the rankings, they're all gone. And their replacements are getting their feet wet, going through growing pains, and they're not as highly thought of. UNC losing to Louisville puts a whole bunch of very, very poor outcomes for the season on the table. Right? The floor gets lower if you're going to lose games by double figures to teams like Louisville. Hubert Davis was asked why UNC struggled down the stretch in that one. And this was his answer. Coming up.
Throughout the entire game, but especially in, late game situations, 4 minutes to go, like the discipline and details just have to be there. I mean, you've got to defensively, you got to get stops, you got to defend without fouling, you've got to box out, you've got to get loose balls. Offensively, you have to execute. And when I mean execute, it's not just, I'm not talking about just being able to score in those situations. It's also the stuff that sets up the shot, the screen, the being in the right spot, setting the screen, setting your man up.
It's really hard for me to judge why UNC isn't being successful down the stretch, overall, in the season, in individual games, why they're not adding up. Because, I mean, the obvious answer, or maybe the lazy answer, is they don't have enough post presence. Right? And, it's one of those things that you didn't realize how big of a deal it is until you're out there. But also, I still look at it and just add up the talent and go, shouldn't they be able to just run? Like, because we've seen small teams be successful. But what it becomes is, all right, if you're going to beat us with your big guys because we don't have a ton of size, we're going to make it so your big guy is a huge liability on defense. We're going to play 5 out. We're going to run. We're going to tire them. We're going to shoot well from 3. We're going to make it somehow where that's a deficiency for you, just like it's a deficiency for us. It's one of the more baffling teams I've watched. That might be what it all comes down to. It's one of the more baffling teams I've watched, and we're to the point now where it's no longer, oh, they're going to figure it out. It's, they might not figure it out. And if they don't, this season is ugly.
Were you surprised by the way they played yesterday?
Yes.
You were?
I was surprised, and I'm saying like this was a flaw in how I looked at this team. Mm-hmm. I was surprised because I keep, and probably too long, going, oh, RJ Davis, RJ Davis was showing signs of life before that. Right? Since Ian Jackson started taking more shots, RJ Davis was being more efficient as a scorer, and I'm going like, well, if you get both of those guys going, now all of a sudden, look, that's 40, 50 points between the two of them per game. Everybody else doesn't have as much. Like and I'm still doing it a little bit. Like, I'm still going, nah, just wait. No, they're going to figure it out. No, RJ Davis isn't going to have this season, is what my brain, like my subconscious is telling me. But how long into a season until you just go, this is the season he's going to have? It's like a hitter who's like a 310 hitter in baseball. Through the first month, he's hitting 260. He's going to be a good hitter. Through 2 months, he's hitting 245. He's a good hitter by, hey, after the All-Star break. Then it's like All-Star, then it's like starts getting cold outside and he's still hitting 250. And you're like, I guess this is just the season he's going to have. Mm-hmm. Even though, you still feel like when he gets up there, hey, we got a 300 hitter coming up. We should be pretty confident about this. There's so much about this UNC team that my heart is going like, they'll figure it out. But I think I should stop being surprised. I think I shouldn't be surprised they lost by double digits to Louisville. But just the look of it and watching the game, I'm going like, this is weird. I think UNC fans will agree with me on that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We need some numbers game contestants, but before we do that, here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Folks, it's a new year. Stop letting high-interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Especially homeowners out there, listen up. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. Talking no appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's all-new Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven technology to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day. One client recently got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers, get cash to consolidate all your debt, and get a fresh start here for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine, this time next week, you could be credit card debt-free. Don't wait. Get your cash fast, folks. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, needs numbers. It's been a while. Numbers game contestants. Had a day off for the holiday. Forgot how to say the name of the game. Numbers game contestants. So right now, get ready to call in. 919-860-5326. Lines are open. We need 2 contestants. The prize for today is a $25 Auto Bell Car Wash gift card. If you want to win the gift card, if you want to win the immortal glory that comes with winning the numbers game, 919-860-5326. Numbers game coming up next.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
It's 2025, and everybody's looking for a fresh start with their resolutions. Every team, player, coach, they've got something on a wish list. The Canes, I think they could use a little bit more toughness. The Panthers, clarity on Bryce Young. Is he the guy? Is he not? And every college basketball team wants to be hitting their stride as they hit the ACC schedule.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Tim Donnelly here for DraftKings Sportsbook. It's the most wonderful time of the year for getting in all of the hoops, football, and hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. In the season of giving, we're being gifted college football and basketball, pro football and basketball, and pro hockey too, almost 24/7. Money lines, parlays, props, live bets, and so much more. The betting options feel endless on DraftKings. And here's a gift for all new customers. Bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD. That's code TIMD with no spaces for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Happy holidays from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. Our contestants are on the line, and they are ready to battle it out with jersey number knowledge for a $25 Auto Bell Car Wash gift card. But first, we have to decide who goes first, and to do that, we ask each a question, the same question. Dennis picks which answer is his favorite. That person gets to go first. Dylan and Clayton, we will start with you. Dylan, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. The question, normally on a Monday, we ask, what was the highlight of your past weekend, but keep it sports related because we're a sports show. So with this being the kind of the Monday of 2025, the first day of the year, what was the highlight of 2024 for you, but keep it sports related because we're a sports show.
Ooh, highlight of 2024, ECU beat NC State 28 December, so I guess that still counts.
Absolutely.
And we'll see all you wolf puppies to start the new year in August.
My favorite part is how you hesitated as if it were like a difficult. You're like, oh, geez, that whole this. Like you knew exactly where you were going with it, but you set us up with a little okey doke. I respect that. Dylan and Clayton, stay on the line. We'll see if that ends up being Dennis's choice. Tom in Wake Forest, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, same question to you. What was the highlight of your 2024? But because we're a sports show, keep it sports related.
Yeah, I know this is a North Carolina-based show, but I'm from Minnesota, so I'd say the Minnesota Vikings in the year they had. I think everybody projected us to finish last place, but we'll be playing Sunday for the division championship.
I can't help but notice you said year they had. Or is there anything, maybe you're not expecting it to continue a lot longer, or is that just a Freudian slip?
No. The year they had in 2024.
Right.
We're going to dominate.
Oh, I get it. Like the calendar year they had. I got you.
That's right. That's
got
right.
you. I was hoping you would say something like the year they're having, but you were looking at the calendar year, not the season. Got you.
Hey, don't jinx us. You're jinxing us now.
I was asking. I was just clarifying. I haven't said anything about the Vikings. Although, Sam Darnold, then people have some thoughts on him around here. Actually, real quick, this is just for my own research. As a Vikings fan, game one next week or next year, is it J.J. McCarthy or is it Sam Darnold?
I think it's going to be Sam.
Okay,
we're gonna pay Sam.
All right, interesting. Dennis, your choice of the two answers for whoever gets to go first.
Props to Sam Darnold on the season that he's had so far.
Very much.
It's been pretty remarkable. Everyone's been waiting for the wheels to fall off, and they haven't. But I'm not going to lie, the trash talk that we just had there, from our first caller, from Dylan, from down in there in Clayton, calling them wolf puppies and everything. I was like, you know what? You won. You can say those things.
Yes,
so
true.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Dylan on this one.
To the victors go the spoils. The victors get to write history. You get to call them wolf puppies. So Dylan, you get to go first. Don't worry. Tom, you will have your chance. Just have to wait a little bit. Dylan, are you there and ready to roll?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. Here are the categories you get to choose from. NFL players born the last week of December. NFL players that are on Santa's naughty list. This means players that were fined in the month of December. NBA original dream teamers or NHL Hurricanes only?
Oh, Santa's naughty list.
Santa's naughty list. All right. These are all players that were fined in the month of December. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Jamar Chase, Cincinnati Bengals.
1.
Correct. George Pickens, Pittsburgh Steelers.
14.
Correct. Isaiah Pacheco, Kansas City Chiefs.
21.
Incorrect. DeAndre Swift, Chicago Bears.
31.
Incorrect. Isaiah Pacheco, Kansas City Chiefs.
15.
Incorrect. DeAndre Swift, Chicago Bears.
32.
Incorrect. Isaiah Pacheco, Kansas City Chiefs.
16.
Incorrect. DeAndre Swift, Chicago Bears.
35.
Incorrect. Isaiah Pacheco, Kansas City Chiefs.
10.
Oh, you got to the pass eventually. You probably should have used that one a little bit earlier. You got Chase with number 1. You got Pickens, 14. Pacheco wears number 10. It's a weird running back.
I said 10 at the buzzer. Did I?
He did, but it was after the buzzer.
It was after the buzzer. I thought you said pass.
No, 10.
Oh.
All good, though. All good.
He did say 10, but it was after the buzzer.
Oh, well, then you didn't get to the pass. I thought you should have used that earlier. DeAndre Swift, number 4 is the number we were looking for.
Yes.
You got 2. It's a nice, solid number. We'll see if it holds up. Go ahead and stay on the line. That brings us to Tom in Wake Forest. Tom, are you there?
Yep, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players born in the last week of December, NBA original dream teamers, or NHL Hurricanes only.
I'll do NFL.
All right. These are all players born in the last week of December. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. You need 3 for the win. Any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Demarius Thomas, Denver Broncos.
88.
Correct. Kerry Collins, Carolina Panthers.
10.
Incorrect. Carson Wentz, Philadelphia Eagles.
10.
Incorrect. Kerry Collins, Carolina Panthers.
5.
Incorrect. Carson Wentz, Philadelphia Eagles.
11.
Correct. Lavernius Coles, New York Jets.
83.
Incorrect. Kerry Collins, Carolina Panthers.
3.
Incorrect. Lavernius Coles, New York Jets. Do you want to get a chance to say it after the buzzer?
Lavernius Coles, I'm struggling.
87. 87 is what we were looking for. Kerry Collins, we were looking for 12. You got Demarius Thomas. You got Carson Wentz. Unfortunately, a tie goes to who goes first. So you are not the winner, but hopefully you had some fun.
Absolutely.
All right. That means Dylan and Clayton. Dylan, you are the winner. I hope you recognize that saying wolf puppies and making Dennis laugh with your trash talk is the tiebreaker that got you the win.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Go Pirates.
You are very welcome. Stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab from you to get you your $25 Auto Bell car wash gift card.
By the way, Tom did say 5 for Kerry Collins. Kerry Collins wore 5 when he played for the New York Giants.
Okay,
so it was with the Panthers. He did wear 12.
Your mind's eye wasn't completely wrong, just the wrong team.
Mm-hmm.
I say this all the time. It is crazy, like the images that pop into your brain when you think of certain players. I've talked about the phenomena. I don't know if it's a phenomena. We should study it. Someone smarter than me should write a research paper. If you're an Atlanta Falcon of this century and I say your name, people guess 11 because that was Julio Jones' number. And I think you're just used to seeing the Falcons 11 jersey. It's wild. Nobody can ever pick a wide receiver, or I shouldn't say nobody. If you are of a certain age, you can't even your guesses are never a wide receiver in the teens or single digits. It's always in the 80s. And then if there's a player who was more well known for a different team, and you have to say their number for a team that are lesser known, you almost always assume it's the famous number. It's just it's why we love the numbers game. It's hard to be perfect. I do want a perfect score though. So tomorrow, go ahead and call right in. I want a perfect score. Also,
tomorrow we're not going to have a numbers game.
You're right. Tomorrow we won't because it's a short show. Call back in Monday. Chase on Twitter. This is why Trash Talk is awesome.
Okay.
Chase on Twitter said he said wolf puppies while talking about a game coming up next season. So we shall see.
First game of the year.
Yeah. So hey. They won the ball. He's saying that the Trash Talk Wolf Puppies was not said about the game they just won. It was about seeing them next year. So you're writing a check that your team is going to have to go try to cash for you is basically what Chase is saying.
You know, it's very interesting. I was at the game in 2022 at Dottie Ficklin when NC State was at ECU, and ECU missed a couple of kicks late. They missed a field goal and an extra point all in the last few minutes of the game in the fourth quarter. NC State didn't score in the second half at all, and ECU lost by a point in that game. And there you want to talk about some trash talk and some rivalry. That was a noon kickoff. That place was electric to kick off that season.
If you really want to get people all riled up, ask if it is a rivalry. That'll get people going, but we won't do that.
That's funny. Well, I don't know. Our comment section, when you and Graham earlier this week talked about the NC State win, the NC State loss against East Carolina. Oh, let's just say they're ECU fans in the chats being like, hey, what's up, guys?
As you should. As I said, the victors write history, and that's one of them. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. And if you win again, you can talk all the trash continuing. Winners get to talk. Don't get me wrong on anything competitive. Winners get to talk. Speaking of getting to talk, I'm going to make some bold predictions when we come back. And if they are correct, you'll hear me talk about it. Real bold predictions, 2025 edition, coming up next.
It's been quite the ride in 2024.
And it's night for the Seminoles. 53 seconds to go. The Blue Devils are about to get their first win over Florida State.
There's the horn, and the Pack's done it. NC State is the 2024 ACC Men's Basketball Champion.
Let's do it all again next year.
Happy New Year!
From 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score!
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals these secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Notre Dame up 13-3 on Georgia at the moment. Riley Leonard, who Duke fans are familiar with, completed a 13-yard touchdown pass to give them that lead. He is also leading Notre Dame in rushing, 6 carries for 50 yards. I don't know if that makes you feel good or bad as a Duke fan. Just is what it is. It's not quite like when Sam Hartman went to Notre Dame. It felt much more like he had given Wake Forest everything and then some, and they let him out of the nest to go flap his wings and make a bunch of NIL money. Riley Leonard didn't quite have the same experience, I'm sure. Less time on campus, more kind of unfinished business vibes. But either way, he's at Notre Dame, and he's, at the moment, at halftime, leading Notre Dame to a 10-point lead over Georgia with a spot in the semifinals on the line. Which does build into the point I made earlier, which is the teams with buys start slow. The teams with byes in the college football playoff 12 team thus far have all found themselves down double digits early in the game.
I mean, because the SEC championship game for Georgia was, what, a month ago?
I don't know exactly. It feels like it.
Yeah, I think it was first weekend in December, right? That's when conference championship weekend is.
I can
because the following weekend is the Army-Navy game. So it's been basically a month since these guys have played.
And it's the same debate they have all the time. It was December 7th, so a little less than a month. But still, you're right. I mean, that's a long time, and you don't do that.
4 weeks,
You don't do that in football. You don't take more than, even a bye week is usually like 12 days. It's just it just doesn't happen. So are you rested or are you rusty? The college football playoff appears as if rusty is more of a way to make it happen. Teams that played last week are in more of a rhythm. We'll keep you posted. Oh, by the way, speaking of bowls, tomorrow, if you tune in around this time, expecting to hear this show, if this is your commute home, don't be alarmed if you tune in and hear bowl action. The First Responders Bowl will take over our network at about 4 o'clock. So if you want to catch the drive, from 3 to 4 would be the time to hear the drive tomorrow. Now let's get into some real bold predictions. This is the 2025 version. We do real bold predictions on Fridays about just what's coming up on the weekend. But we have a whole year to look ahead. So I'm going to make some bold predictions, or what I think are bold predictions, about the year. And Dennis will either give me the bold enough bell or the not bold enough buzzer. And then I'll have to make it bolder on the spot until we get to a bold enough situation. How about this? This got to be bold enough. Duke basketball wins a national championship. I think they're good. Say what you will. How about this? UNC football plays in the ACC championship game. Shout out to Bill Belichick. I just think he's a good coach. Crazy.
Still, got to turn around that roster. First year as a college head coach. There's a lot. There's a lot for these guys to learn. That's very bold.
I know it's bold.
Especially with Clemson Klubnik's coming back. And believe it or not, Dabo Swinney's actually getting transfers now.
I did see that. And he's just expecting none of us to notice. He's just pulling in some transfers. You made it would have been one thing if you just said no, I like our roster, but you made a big thing about the whole transfer deal. And now suddenly you're just I'm looking at these teams in the college football playoff. They got a lot of people that were developed elsewhere. So let's see. How about this? Omarion Hampton, former UNC running back, leads all rookies in rushing yards in the NFL next year. More than Genty, more than Scattaboo.
What round do you think he goes in?
Hampton or Scattaboo?
Hampton.
I think early second.
Early second, like pick 42 or something like that?
I think early second to a contender that goes and gets him.
Okay.
And part of the reason, if this were, 2 years or last year's draft, I think he's a first rounder. But this is a very deep running back draft, so I think contenders are going to go, well, we got 6 guys we like, but there's only one corner we like. So let's take the corner, and hopefully one of those 6 that we like at running back are going to fall. If you look at, Caleb Johnson from Iowa, the 2 guys at Ohio State, Omarion Hampton, obviously Genty, he'll be a first rounder. There's a lot of guys that I think are going to be highly thought of. How about this? I don't know why I'm saying that before all of them, but how about this? C.J. Bailey, all ACC next year. With Klubnik coming back, I thought I was playing into something you were saying.
All ACC could be honorable mention.
Oh, no. First team all ACC.
Oh, first team.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
You just said all ACC. Now we're getting bold.
Well, I was like, wow, this is going to be more bold than that.
Yeah, you said all ACC.
Yeah,
okay, that could have been honorable mention.
I get what you thought, but that wasn't what I had going on in my brain.
Okay.
I think part of it is the Klubnik spin around factor, and people like stories. So if C.J. Bailey takes a big leap forward and Klubnik takes a small leap forward, I think everyone will lean C.J. Bailey. I just think he's good. I think he's talented. I think he's going to have a big offseason to get better. Okay, how about this?
Okay, how about this?
Pyotr Kochetkov has a postseason shutout. Pyotr Kochetkov has 2 postseason shutouts.
We'll go shutouts.
It's like Surgeons General. Does the plural go on shuts or outs?
Attorneys General.
Pyotr Kochetkov, I think I want him to be the postseason goalie. We'll see if he ends up doing it. But if he does, I think you're going to get highs and lows. You're going to get some games where he wins it for you by himself. Some games he's going to have to be bailed out. It's just kind of the skittish nature of his aggressiveness. So, yeah, 2 shutouts. It'd be bold if it happens, but if it does, you'll hear me brag about it, which, that's how it works. I don't know if this is good or bad, but I do think by this time, by going into the college football playoff next year, there will be a rule change that guarantees the SEC at least 3 spots. I just think the SEC is going to throw their weight around. They don't like the way this whole college football playoff thing is going right now.
I don't know. They had 3 this year.
I know, but I just I think it's easier to get 4 when you have 3 guaranteed. You know what I mean? Because it's. And I don't even know how they would choose the 3 highest ranked, the conference champion. Like, I don't know what it's going to be. I just think the SEC is very not happy with the way the college football playoff is going right now, and they are going to do everything they can to throw their weight around.
Well, they can kick rocks because, Alabama, what'd you do? Oh, you lost to Michigan, who stinks.
I wish logic and reason would work, but money is what works, and the SEC has a lot of power.
Hey, Tennessee, how'd it go? Oh, wait, it didn't.
Texas.
Barely.
Which, by the way, Texas preseason was my national championship pick. I'm not saying it's been pretty, but they are still alive. I also picked Travis Hunter preseason to be the Heisman Trophy winner.
You did.
So I'm probably jinxing myself. But didn't have to be pretty. Don't draw pictures on the scorecard. Texas is still alive. SMU is my next prediction. SMU football back in the ACC championship next year.
Be playing Carolina, based off what you predicted earlier.
Yes. Which you don't got to worry about divisions. I think there's one thing that we kind of know about college football right now.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of ways, the wins follow the money. SMU, I keep hearing, they've got some Brinks trucks that are backing them up.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
UNC making a commitment with Belichick, that's money. I think there's Duke making a commitment with their money, reportedly $8 million over 2 years for Darian Mensah, their transfer. Some teams are starting to make some money predictions, so I think those teams will rise in the ACC. I have 2 more here. The Hornets draft Cooper Flagg.
That'd be awesome,
right? They're right now
get ready for Hornet talk. Let's go.
The Charlotte Hornets.
3rd to the bottom of the league right now.
Yeah.
They own their first-round pick, and I think the word tank might come up with how they operate down the stretch. And then even if you don't finish with the worst, the way the odds are, the tanking's not supposed to be motivated, all those other things. So part of this is predicting where the lottery balls go. But it does seem like it would just be convenient for us, so I'm trying to put it out there into the world. Last one I have for you here. Drew Aller, Penn State, first quarterback taken in this year's NFL draft.
In 2025?
Yes.
Oh.
The Charlotte Hornets.
Nope, that's the wrong one. Yeah. Drew Aller, first QB taken?
Who, by the way, as of right now, has said he's returning to Penn State.
Okay, yeah, there's bold and then there's that.
There are people that I trust when talking about football that are very high on Drew Aller, and they think he might be one, maybe 2 more really good college football playoff games away from whoever is advising Drew Aller from saying you're a dummy to go back to school. The league likes you.
I have a bold prediction.
I would love to hear it.
Carolina Panthers trade out of their top 10 pick this year. No? They trade out of their top 10 pick?
Well, assuming they get a haul, I don't think that's bold.
Okay.
So make it bolder.
Okay.
The roles have changed.
Panthers trade out of their top 10 pick and get a first-round pick in 2026.
Ding, ding, ding. How far back do they go? Now I'm just curious.
I think they go down to 15.
If so, as of right now, what are they? 7, something like that?
6.
6? From 6 to 15, and you pick up a future first?
Yeah.
About that life.
Yeah.
Smash accept. That's about going to do it for us here on The Drive here on a Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow for a shortened show, just 3 to 4. Just a quick reminder there. We are coming up on Overdrive with a couple of basketball conversations, UNC and Duke, coming off their recent games. Canes later on right here on 99.9 The Fan, including Stormwatch with Adam Gold ahead of time. They are in Florida facing the Panthers. Need a win, Canes. Make it happen. Get a goal for Natchez. With that being said, we'll see you tomorrow for a shortened show. Have a great night, everybody. The Pack Therapy Podcast is in session thanks to First Horizon Bank. Tim Donnelly here, hosted The Drive, alongside Wolfpack legend Casey Morcell.
Every episode is your chance to score inside information on the Pack.
We'll set you up for Wolfpack games all season long.
And we break down the ACC competition, what to watch for as we roll towards the tournament madness.
Plus special guests to keep Wolfpack hope alive.
Follow and subscribe to Pack Therapy wherever you discover your favorite podcast.